And we shall be discussing on the research and development, one of the themes that we have in the NEP 2020. And as rightly put forth by Professor Atiq Sahab, that the research and development is now a part and parcel of all the academic institutions. And we have to be forthcoming in conducting research, especially the one which is socially relevant. The research that helps our society develop, that helps us our society in the long run. And that's the kind of a research we are supposed to conduct, because that's how we would be in a position to pay back to the taxpayers who have, in fact, sponsored us time and again from our school education till where we are right now standing. I'm sure that everybody's contribution is there, and especially the ones who are, the ones who belong to the downtrodden kind of strata of our, we can say, society, whose contribution, in fact, in making what we are today is surely very enormous, and we ought to pay back that. And one of the ways through which we can is that we should definitely conduct the socially relevant, research which will uplift our society, which will help back our society in progressing in the right direction. In that context, having a focus on research is all the more necessary. And in research, again, we have got several important, I can say, things to keep in mind. And one amongst them is when it comes to doing a quantitative or a qualitative kind of a research, or a mixed, in fact, we should have a proper understanding of the hypothesis formulation as one of the important ways through which we can have a very relevant scientific-based research that we can conduct. And I know that since I'm in the field now for a long time, as an expert, I have, as one of the, examiners of the thesis that come to me from different parts of the country, or from my own school of business studies, or from within my own valley, wherever I have been, involved in the research activities, and wherever I have had a chance to go through the thesis or the dissertations of my scholars, I have found, if not in all, but in majority of the cases, scholars do commit some gross mistakes when it comes to the formulation of hypothesis. And as a result of that, they are not able to make use of the relevant tools and techniques as well. Keeping that in mind and taking clue from that, I thought it appropriate that we discuss something about how hypotheses are formulated and what tools and techniques ought to be subsequently used to test those hypotheses. That is basically one of the important, I can say, the focuses, and that's something that has actually made me to focus on this formulation of hypothesis, so that since research is not confined to only the universities, but given NEP 2020, the colleges, especially the research centers, have been, I can say, made to conduct research. They have been, I can say, covered under it, and they have been asked to do research. And then also we know that we got a 4-year UG program that again the students with more than 7.5 CGPA are supposed to, or they can have, a research as their 4th year. So you can better understand that this is something that has been now focused in NEP. So every one of us has to be well aware of how to conduct research, and especially how to formulate the hypothesis. There are different, we can say, components of research. We cannot just say about formulation of hypothesis only, but then this is one of the important components amongst the rest of these, components that we have to keep in mind when it comes to conducting a very scientific, realistic, I can say, research, especially the one which is socially relevant kind of a research. Now, having briefed you up that why there was a need to take up this kind of a title or a topic for today's discussion, I would naturally wish that this session stays as, a dialogue-oriented kind of a research rather than a monologue. That I'm not the one to speak on, but you will also, I can say, give your input so that we can make this, this session a very lively session, a very interactive session indeed. So what I would definitely like to start with is seeking some relevant inputs from you, my worthy participants. I know that we have got the scholars also who are now in this program, because it is extended to the scholars, not only the faculty members, but also the scholars. So naturally, we need to have some inputs from all of you with regard to what is hypothesis. How will you define hypothesis? Any ideas, please? Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir, you are
Yes,
audible,
sir.
and
Yes, audible.
participant, you are requested to please interact, because without interaction, it is not possible to conduct the sessions. Please be interactive.
It's a one-sided kind of a session, and it's not for an enjoyment purposes, but for ascertaining that there is a seriousness on the other side as well. For that, it is all the more necessary. I would wish that my worthy participants do take a serious part in the deliberations.
Sir, hypothesis is an alternative explanation, tentative explanation, proposed predictions.
Okay. You may call it as
Hypothesis.
you say that it is an alternate explanation.
No, tentative explanation. Tentative,
Okay.
it means
You may
proposed
call
prediction.
okay, tentative statement, or it can be a proposition that's really a tentative one. Anybody else would like to share his thoughts? Fine. Tentative statement. So tentative means that it is not final. We're not sure about it. We have just said about it that it looks like this. Now, an important point is that can we make these statements and assumptions, tentative statements, though they are, without any basis? How can we make these assumptions? Do we have any backing for these kinds of assumptions to be made? Because they could be questioned. Why have you and how have you hypothesized or assumed that these two variables are related to each other, or they are not related to each other? What do you think could be the basis for?
Sir,
Yes, please.
based on earlier research studies.
Very good. Definitely relevant. We have got already the research studies conducted, or there are some theories. Nowadays, naturally, we have got the research scholars, and that has become a very good and a very, though a recent phenomenon, but a very encouraging one, where the scholars do not only fall back on the empirical studies that have been conducted in the area of their research, but also they go by the theories that have been developed over a period of time. Just relate their research work with the existing theories. Definitely right. So how are assumptions made? We are making assumptions on the basis of the literature that's available. Then, do we necessarily require to have the null hypothesis? Another important point is that, do we necessarily require to have the null hypothesis? We have different types, but mainly we talk about null and alternate hypothesis. Do we require to have null hypothesis necessarily? And if yes, why? If not, why? Both. We should have a justification for it. I know that when it comes to the hypothesis formulation, it's not that big a deal that today you have got the chat GPT, you've got other social media platforms, and you would be in a better position to come up with good hypothesis. But an idea is that we should know how to formulate the hypothesis. We cannot say our scholar to go and make use of a chat GPT, know how the hypothesis formulated, or how you can formulate a hypothesis for your chosen variables. But what is essential and important for us is to know, first of all, ourselves, that what hypothesis is all about and how it can be formulated. Having a knowledge about it is all the more necessary. Now, my point is that, do we require to have necessarily null hypothesis, or we can begin with the alternate ones? No answer, I suppose, from your end. I know you may be knowing the answer, but you are just not trying to share it with me. The point is that normally we have been hearing that we shall start with the null hypothesis. Null simply indicates that there is no relationship, for example, existing among us or between the variables. Simple as that. But one important thing that we have to keep in mind is that when we say that we have to formulate hypotheses on the basis of the existing literature or theories. Now, if say theories or the existing literature indicate that there exists a relationship between the variables, the majority of the research indicates that a relationship does exist. Then in that case, how is it that you can refute the findings of the existing researchers and you will start with a null hypothesis? Null basically indicates that, for example, no relationship exists. But your majority of the research that you have conducted and you have just made mention of, because it's a literature available that helps you come up with the hypothesis. A literature review is basically required by you at minimum 3 times, at 3 places in your research. In the initials, you have to introduce your study variables with the help of the literature that's available. Then you have a complete full-scale chapter which is review of literature. Even if you are writing a paper, then also you have that theoretical background, research background. And that research background gives, leaves a scope for a research gap. You are identifying the research gap with the help of the existing literature. So once we are done with the research gaps, then only you go with the objectives and hypotheses. Because now, if you have found that these are the existing research gaps, and you as a researcher have to fill them up, given your own capacity, given your own capability, given your own competence, given your rigorous understanding of the existing literature, you are able to identify the research gaps. And then based on that, you say that these are the gaps, this is now my objective, and followed by a hypothesis. Every research hypothesis, a reason of the literature that's available. And the last, why do you require literature review, is while you are substantiating your findings at 3 important places. You, as a researcher, you must always bear in mind that once you've come up with the findings, those findings have to be corroborated with the existing literature. That gives it a further strength that your research has some, I can say, it has a contribution and it is related to the existing literature. But there is also a possibility that your findings would be by and large very unique. They deviate from the existing line of research. They deviate from the existing line of research, that what the existing literature is indicating, your research, your findings indicate something little different, not necessarily as it is in the existing literature. Now, what happens normally with the scholars is that they may change their hypothesis in order to say that this is our hypothesis, these are our results, because they don't find, for instance, that the existing literature is corroborating with their findings. So the best way they find, though it's a very deceptive way that a researcher may follow, that he may now or she may now change the hypothesis and just look that his research is in, I can say, corroboration with the existing literature. That's a cheating on the part of the researcher. Now, what the researcher is supposed to do then in that case is that a researcher is to come up with convincing arguments as to if these are my results and how these results can be justified. One way justifying your results is to corroborate those findings with the existing literature, because rest of the scholars have also found like that. The other way around is that if, say, for example, your results are not in tune with the existing literature, you might, for example, change the hypothesis and try to come up with the results which are in corroboration with the existing literature. The third and the most scholarly approach is that you will not fall prey to what the existing literature has suggested or change the hypothesis, but you will justify your results with your convincing arguments. That's the real contribution then on your part. So we say that we may not necessarily start with the null hypothesis, we may start with the alternate hypothesis if the literature so suggests. Then a point is that, do we require to have hypothesis for all different types of research? Do we require to have it for all different types of research? Again, a point is that we may not require, or we may. What is your response to it, please? The ones whose camera is on, like Dr. Abe or Dr. Pavan Baravkar, What is your take on it? Because I see only two persons on the other side. Maybe others are in hiding. They're not visible to me. And do we require a hypothesis for all different types of research? Yes, sir. Dr. Pawan,
Yes, sir.
do we require to
uh,
have these hypotheses for all different types of research?
yes, sir. Null hypothesis, alternative hypothesis. So, two types of hypothesis.
Okay. Anybody else would like to share his thoughts on? Do we require to
Sir,
have hypothesis for all types of research? We have different types of research.
no, different types of research, sir.
So we may not necessarily require a hypothesis for a qualitative kind of a research. We may there require naturally the research questions. So you may have research questions for a qualitative kind of a research. But if it is a quantitative one, where we have to necessarily collect data and we do a first-hand research, we do a research which is based on primary data. And for if you have to have a questionnaire, you have to administer the questionnaire to the respondents whom you have chosen for your study purposes. So in that case, you necessarily require to have the hypothesis. And then another important thing is that why do we require, what are the criterions for good hypothesis? What do you think are the various criterions for good hypothesis? Again, how can we say that our hypothesis is a very scientific hypothesis, is a most relevant hypothesis? How is that possible? What are the criterions for that? We also need to look at that part as well, that what are the criterions for the good hypothesis. We will touch them a little later, but surely would like to know from you, anyone who would like to share his thoughts on it, that how do you think can we claim that this particular hypothesis is a scientific hypothesis, a very relevant hypothesis? There is no deficiency in the hypothesis. How can we say that? When can we say that? What are the important criterion for a good hypothesis? Any ideas, please? Okay, we will touch them a little later, but I think that only a few are present there. The first and foremost is that since we talked about it, a very basic concept, why do we have to have the hypothesis? We say that they provide a checkpoint, which the researcher checks her findings. I mean, when you come up with a kind of a demarcation and you come up with a checkpoint, you know that this is the demarcation. This is what exactly I'm trying to do. My research remains confined to, it remains restricted to, because it's an empirical study. And then also we know that researchers have got different kinds of limitations, financial or otherwise, time constraints and other things. So naturally, a research cannot be left until, unstretchable, a stretchable one. We have to stretch it to a limit. It cannot go beyond that. So these hypotheses actually provide a kind of a checkpoint to us that this is something that we are actually interested in doing. Though it's one of the disadvantages with the hypothesis-based research. Hypothesis-based research, this is one of the limitations of that. Because we are confining our research. But since our research is hypothesis-based, therefore we always look back at this checkpoint. We look back at these points, that what exactly is in our mind on what we want to actually test. So that is a disadvantage, but it's also necessary for a researcher. Unless and until a researcher is more interested in conducting a exploratory kind of a research. Now look at why we do require the hypothesis. Again, we say that we require hypothesis because it provides a direction. Where are you going? You are not waywards. You have a limited scope for your research and you want to just do within that scope that you have already chosen for your research through hypothesis formulation. So I'm saying that on one side, it is advantageous and beneficial for a researcher, but on the other side, there are limitations to this kind of a research. Why we do hypothesis? We have to test the hypothesis because it delimits the scope of a research. Then we know the limitations of researchers. That's why we say, yes, okay, a researcher can go with the hypothesis. It is not a flaw in his research. But of course, one flaw is that his research remains limited. That is what we have to accept. And then it does provide a structure for the next phase of investigation, because you know that when you conduct your research, and towards the end of your research, you make mention of the conclusions and future directions, limitations and future directions. As a researcher, you have to candidly accept the limitations that you have found in your research, that you have identified in your research. And as a result of that, once you do it, you subsequently also provide a future direction for future researchers, that this is what a future researcher can do away with these limitations. Then again, what is important is that you, in a way, provide a continuity to research, because research is never ending. And therefore, what limitations have you found in your research? And the future directions, they become the future directions also. So a future researcher takes cue from the limitations that you identified in the research that you have conducted. And as a result of that, you actually, your research, your findings, your conclusion, your limitations which you have identified, and your future directions, actually, they provide the basis for the future research. So there is a continuity that is ensured by the researcher. He is actually, ensuring that continuity in research remains there. Then again, it is formulated when the researcher is totally aware of the theoretical and empirical background of the problem. You may not be otherwise able to. So you cannot hypothesize about the phenomena unless and until you have done a rigorous literature review. And that basically would mean empirical studies as well as theories that lead to your research arena. Now, again, as I pointed out, that do we require to have the hypothesis for all different types of research? We say that they are required for a quantitative kind of a research. They may not be required for a qualitative kind of research. A researcher in a qualitative research usually would formulate broad research questions to facilitate the investigation of the problem being explored. So he has to do that. So quantitative research or a causal or a relational kind of a research is bound to have the hypothesis. Well, that can't be the case with the qualitative kind of research, why we require only the questions, research questions. Are you there? Am I audible to you all, please?
Yes, sir, audible.
Okay, very good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fine. So I had
Yes, sir.
a question to you earlier on, which was with regard to how can we say our research hypothesis is a relevant one or it is scientific one. There are some criterions which make us understand that whether our hypothesis is relevant, it is scientific, it is appropriate. Like it has to be very clear, testable, it has to be very specific, relevant, consistent with the existing theory or research. Simple, it should not be ambiguous, vague, very simple, 2 lines, 3 lines. It should connote what exactly you are testing. It should be falsifiable, that what you have come up with is not necessarily will always be accepted by you. It should be falsifiable, measurable, generalizable, and ethical. These are some of the basic criterions on the basis of which we can see that we can claim or we can say that the hypothesis is a very scientific one. It's a good one. I may not touch each and every point because most of the things are self-explanatory. Like, for example, if you talk about clarity and precision, yes, one thing that you have to keep in mind that clarity and precision. In hypothesis, there cannot be ambiguity. For example, if we use the word bad leadership affects employee behavior, we don't know what does bad leadership is. Bad leadership as such is not a construct. It's a layman's language. We may say bad leadership, good leadership, but it's a layman's language. It's not a scientific one. It's not a scholarly language. What does bad leadership mean? For example, autocratic leadership, democratic leadership. I beg your pardon. We can say autocratic leadership. We can have a despotic leadership. These can be leadership which can be considered to be the bad leaderships. And they negatively influence employee job satisfaction. Employee behavior is again subject to interpretation. What do you mean by employee behavior? Employee behavior would mean commitment, citizenship, job satisfaction. or it can give any kind of a meaning. So the point basically is that we cannot just have the employee behavior, because employee behavior is ambiguous and it is subject to interpretation. So we have to keep that also in mind. Likewise, we may say falsifiability or a simplicity. For example, a hypothesis should be straightforward, avoiding unnecessary complexity, while still it should capture the essence of the research question. Like, for example, workplace flexibility positively affects employee satisfaction. It's very much simple, straightforward, and it is uh, connoting a very clear meaning that workplace flexibility positively affects the employee satisfaction. Likewise, we should also keep in mind the falsifiability of the hypothesis. That the hypothesis that you are formulating or you have formulated is structured in such a way that it can be proved false or it can be accepted. Both ways are possible. Like, for example, increased social media engagement negatively impacts employee productivity. Increased social media engagement negatively impacts employee productivity. What does this mean now? Social media engagement is going to impact the employee productivity negatively, but possibility is that it may positively also impact the employee productivity. Haven't we heard there are so many instances and so many such, I can say, videos which are very viral about these students who qualified NEET or other competitive exams, not because they joined any formal coaching, but because they learned or they just used the social media, YouTube. They used that. And that helped them out in even qualifying the most prestigious national level examination. In other words, it means that if an employee, for example, is so glued to the social media, uses it so often, may not necessarily use it for bad intentions, or may not use it not to benefit from it, may use it for benefiting him in his day-to-day affairs, in the way he is doing work. Maybe he gets some clues, some hints, some inputs, some information about how to improve his productivity. So instead of a social media, playing sports, it does provide a good, I can say, a platform or an opportunity for a person to learn things better and to do things better at workplace. For example, we as teachers, if we again remain busy with the on the social media, but we receive some good inputs, some good information about how to handle students, how to conduct classes, or it may be directly related to the subject domain. We do make use of the social media. So possibility is that the same thing that we are using, which may be considered to be a bad, may actually prove to be very relevant and good for us, for our profession, for discharging our responsibilities more, we can say, professionally and in a more better way. So we say that when it comes to the social media use, we have to formulate a hypothesis in such a manner that what we have formulated may not necessarily be true as well. It may be, different. It may be different from what we have actually tried to portray. So increases social media engagement negatively impacts employee productivity may not necessarily be so. It may in fact be rejected even. And instead, we might have increases social media helping a person to improve his productivity. That is also possible. So we say that in hypothesis, we should keep the provision for both. Either it could be accepted or it could be rejected. It could be proved right or it could be proved false. Now, before we move on to discussing again some important aspects of our research hypothesis, because I believe that towards the end of this session, what we would do is that we will have some scenarios, some examples, and I would leave those to you to formulate the hypothesis for. That would be better. That will make it a little more interactive. That will get me know that will be understood the whole context in which we have discussed this hypothesis formulation or not. Not before we have a bit of a look on the research philosophy. You know that in most of the cases we feel an understanding that if we have come up with a research design, why have we come up with that particular research design, research approach? the research approach that you have followed, you should be very conscious about it, very alert about it, very clear about it. That if you have chosen a particular research path or a research line or a research design, what were the basis for that? Now, the most important thing is, in order to know that, we need to have an understanding of research philosophy. And it begins with ontology. It has epistemology as one of the important components. And in fact, even at times, its axiology is also considered to be one of the elements or components of the research philosophy. Now look at ontology. What exactly ontology means? Ontology is basically concerned with the existence or a nature of reality. What is in existence? What is the nature of that reality? Is this a reality something which can be, I can say, observed? Is the reality that can be visible? Does this reality have any, can it be constructed, or reality is reality? Say, for example, if we talk about some natural phenomenon, how things happen, it's pretty difficult to refute them. They are there, and we have to accept them. Just a minute, please. Wa alaikum salam. Anazar. चलो अच्छा जी. So ontology is basically concerned with the nature of reality. So we're talking about there is some natural phenomena. You see that, for example, we have got gravity. We see that Earth has got it, things fall down. But why was it it was there before Newton could, observe it. Newton could realize it. Newton could speak about it, that Earth has reality, things fall down. And so there is no scope for a person to interpret it in his own way, because there is a natural thing that is happening. There are things which may not be conceived and properly understood by us at this point in time, but they are in existence. They do not necessarily require our confirmation. Time will basically confirm them. Time will tell us about them. So what is ontology actually? More specifically, that it is the nature of reality, the existence of reality, and then how we talk about that reality. Then comes epistemology, for example. In the epistemology, again, the existence of knowledge, the existence of reality, how this reality can be acquired, how can we access that reality? What is in existence? How can we approach that? How can we know about that reality? There are three ways. One way is that knowledge which is in existence is measurable. We can measure it. The other way around is that we cannot measure it, we can only interpret it. The third concept or belief about the knowledge or existence of reality is that it can be both measured as well as interpreted. Now, what does it mean? It looks to be a little bit philosophical. Let us make it more clear with some context and example. Now, look, culture, for example, in a given organization, there is a culture, existence of reality. Culture exists. Now, how we will come to know about the existence of this culture, reality. Now, before us, reality here is named as culture, for instance. Now, one way is that we may say that yes, culture exists, but culture can be measured. Your research design will be quantitative. Your research will design will be. That's why I said that research philosophy helps a researcher to design his research, come up with his research approach or her research approach. So we say that, for example, culture is in existence, and you say that culture can only be measured. One part is ontology, existence of reality. Second part is that how can we reach to that? That is epistemology. How can we reach to that knowledge? Now, culture is in existence, and epistemology tells us three things. One, it says that culture is measurable. This existence of reality is measurable. Culture is measurable. So what we will do is that we will use the quantitative tools, quantitative ways of measuring it. Second, we may say you may take a different route or a different approach. You say that culture, the existence of reality, it is not measurable, it is only interpretable. We can only interpret it. Now you take a different route. How to acquire this? You may use a qualitative research. You may have a person to go there and sit. A researcher may go to a particular organization and just try to see that how the culture is, interpretation of that. He's just looking at how things are happening in this particular department, in this particular organization. So here he does not make use of any quantitative, I can say, approach. He does not resort to that. He resorts to a qualitative because his bent of mind is that culture, the existence of reality is only interpretable. It cannot be measured. The third and most important one is that is being very much encouraged nowadays, and that approach is that same culture, but we say that culture is both interpretable as well as measurable. That's why you may have a mixed method research. Therefore, the research that we may conduct a quantitative research only, we may conduct a qualitative research, or we may conduct a mixed method. Our approach may be mixed method approach to conduct research. But who tells us about it? It is a research philosophy. Who tells us about it is the ontology. How you feel about the existence of knowledge. And what are the beliefs and concepts that govern your acquiring that knowledge? We call it as epistemology. Then the third and most important thing is that is axiology or axiology, which is to do with the ethical conduct of research. We are conducting research keeping in view the ethics in research. Say, for example, you have borrowed an idea from ABC, the researcher, and then you make a little bit of changes in that and you put it in your own words and you say that you claim that it is your own idea, which is unethical. Or you tamper with the data that you have collected. You fill up the questionnaire back in your home. Or you have some paper of somebody before your eyes, or you have just gone through it and you accordingly made changes in order to indicate that it is your paper. You submit and you get published as well, because there are so many publishing agencies. Now, of course, we know that there are, in case you really want your paper to be published in a very reputed journal, these frauds and these approaches are no way possible nowadays. And that's why we normally find the A-star journals, you got the Q ranked, Q1 ranked, 2, 3. These are or ABDC. These are the ABCD DC journals. These are the kinds of journals wherein your reputation is also involved, and your publication in such kinds of journals is widely acclaimed and accepted. And then how have they done it? Because they have a very rigorous method of reviewing the papers, reviewing your articles. They don't get published on the basis of any recommendations or on the basis of your name only or your affiliation to a particular institution. They get published in those particular reputed journals on the basis of the content, on the basis of the argument that you put forth in your study. That plays a very important role. So point basically is that instead of your article getting retrieved, as has happened very recently, in India, we have had several places. One is in Tamil Nadu, the other one is in one of the north areas, that the publications, the research articles were to be retreated only because because they were not actually following, or they had not followed the ethical, I can say, dimensions of their research. They were considered to be unethically conducted, that those researches. So where we have to be very careful as well. So we say that we take research philosophy basically takes us to positivism, constructivism, and pragmatism. Positivism is basically concerned with that existence of knowledge and it can be measured. Second one, constructivism, existence of knowledge, but it can only be interpreted. So you have every scope to interpret it the way you want to interpret it, given how you observe the things. The third one is pragmatism, where you have both qualitative and quantitative approaches to follow in conducting your research, because quantitative research has got its own limitations, so has got the qualitative research. Now, to fill up the deficiencies or to do away with those deficiencies, you might resort to what is called pragmatism. Now, have a look on this. Have you heard about research onion? Any idea? Only a few of you are present there on the screen. Maybe others are also there. Yes. Have you heard about this research onion? Okay. You don't have any idea. So when we conduct our research, we should also keep in mind the steps that we should follow. Like you know that onion has got different layers. The ultimate of your layer is the data collection and analysis, data analysis, whether you are doing a qualitative kind of a research or a quantitative one. But before you reach to that inner layer of the onion of your research, there are so many layers that you have to cross over. You may not, in no way you will reach to the data collection and data analysis unless and until you have followed a rigorous path of reaching to it. And that is the first one is the outer layer. We call it as research philosophy. Then research philosophy gives again birth to whether it is pragmatism, positivism, so on and so forth that we just talked about. Then research approach. Three types of research. Again, shall we go for induction kind of research, abduction kind of research, or a deduction? Now, induction actually means exploring the things afresh. They are not in existence. You want to explore them. Deduction means that already is in existence. You are doing a research on which research has already been conducted. So yours is an extension of that. But naturally, you have to make it different. You have to add value to the existing literature or existing research that has been conducted on. Then there is a concept we call it as abduction, another way approach of research, wherein you have both qualitative as well as quantitative to keep in mind. Abduction kind of research. Now it gives birth to what's called research choice, methodological. What methodology will you adopt? That will give birth to your research strategy or strategies, depending upon which particular research path you have taken, approach you have taken. Your research will be decided by that, and that will give birth to what's called research strategy. Should you go for a case study method, a narrative inquiry, experiment, archival research, action research, or academic simply research? What research would you like to go to? Then again, there is a time horizon. Should you conduct research one time? You will go to the respondents one time. We call it as a cross-sectional kind of a research, or it's a longitudinal one. Longitudinal one where you go repeatedly to that organization, to those respondents, and you collect data from them. For example, doctors may do it, sociologists may do it. They have undertaken a research in society on poverty alleviation. Some schemes have come up from the government side, and once they were implemented, you have a record of the people before the schemes were implemented, after the schemes were implemented, during the schemes, and after the schemes. So it may require a longitudinal kind of a study. Likewise, doctors may have a likewise kind of research studies, which would be longitudinal in the sense that over a period of time, they record the changes in, for example, the patient. They have give some medicine is very given to the patients. Over a period of time, you just wanted to record how the patient is reacting to those medicines. So we may conduct a kind of a longitudinal kind of a study. Likewise, in a department, in a college or a university, a head of the department or a university as such decides that students' value systems, way of talking, their approach, their behavior is not in tune with what we actually want them to be. So training programs will be conducted over a period of time, and the required and desired changes would be just observed and seen or just examined whether they have occurred or not. So you might require a kind of a longitudinal kind of a study for that purpose. So ultimate is that should you go for a longitudinal or a cross-sectional? Ultimate is how do you actually collect data, and how do you analyze that data? So this research phenomenon is a kind of a approach or an understanding that a researcher has in conducting his research, following all these different kinds of steps as they are here portrayed as layers. Then we did talk about the various what is called the types of research. We have descriptive research where we are describing the characteristics and functions of a group, providing a summary snapshot. So we have correlation kind of a research which indicates the relationship between the variables. Then there is an experimental kind of a research which indicates the cause and effect. In a correlation, there is no causation found out. Then we have exploratory kind of a research which just investigates new or poorly understood topics, defining questions. Then we may have longitudinal kind of research, cross-sectional research, qualitative research, all different types of research. Likewise, we have got the hypothesis, some are null hypothesis, and then we have got alternate hypothesis. In null hypothesis, we indicate that no relationship exists between the variables. Like for example, here we have no relationship exists between training and employee performance. That's why we have to look at that whether it is in tune with the existing literature or not. So while we come up with the hypotheses which are not in tune with the existing literature, those hypotheses are not genuine. For example, normally we may find training should improve employee performance. It should. It should. Am I right? Should it improve the employee performance when it comes to the training? Are you hearing me?
Yes,
Are
sir.
you hearing me?
Yes, sir, audible.
I am audible to you, but I just wanted your reaction on what I'm saying,
Yes, sir.
which is not happening. I'm not getting any good clues from you or good responses from you. Yes, there are a number of, I can say, participants who are on the screen. I can see it now. I just throw a one important point here. I said that suppose there is no relationship between employee training and performance, job performance. Am I right? Is it in tune with the existing literature, or there is something to be added to it? So many respondents, but not any response indeed. No response? Okay. Shall I proceed on?
Yes, sir.
Oh, My point was very simple, that there is no relationship between training and employee performance. Normally, we may reject this kind of hypothesis. We can never say that it is possible that you have employees being trained and their performance will not increase. But there is something missing in this example and in this what is called the hypothesis. Can we always expect and believe that employee training will lead to employee performance? Any inputs from your end? Any idea about it?
Sir, your slide is on the topic not visible. So
It's not visible.
yes, types of hypothesis.
Yeah, it is visible.
Yes, visible, sir.
Okay. So what do you want to say? You tell me that it's not visible?
Types of hypothesis.
Yeah, same.
This slide. Yes, sir.
It is visible, no?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's fine. So I may come to this point a little later, but keep this in mind. If you get a chance, we will discuss it. Or I may just let you know about it. We say that normally, if we use a word or we can hypothesize employee training does not have any relationship with employee performance, it may not look to be that sound. Because normally, if you are training employees, you're training for better performance. If it's a technical kind of or any kind of a training. If we use a word employee performance in a very broad way, in a broader way, it's not in a very confined or restricted manner we talk about it. Performance, employee performance. Now, say, for example, we are asking people to go for training. We deploy them for training programs, but they are not motivated to attending that training program. Their inner interest is not, I can say, for going for training. Naturally, if they go for a training program, that training program may not necessarily improve their performance because they have not been that serious and interested in the training program that was important to them. So in that case, we may say, yes, of course. At times, an employee who is, given some training or imparted with some training may not necessarily show improvement in his performance because the employee was not himself or herself interested in that training. It was just given to him. He just attended that training program for the heck of it, for example, for the promotion. So if we have some scholars or here we have some faculty members, if it is for their promotion, possibility is that they have joined it for promotion purposes only. There may not be out of, for example, 60 plus, for example, participants or around 60 participants, there may not be all the participants with this kind of interest that they would like to learn something. They may be because they need a promotion, for instance. So as a result of that, for them, one of the objectives achieved, that is promotion. They have achieved, they have got it. But the other important one that they could have derived from the program is missing only because they were not interested for the training, they were interested in a certificate. So in that case, employee training will not lead to employee motivation. So that or a performance that is genuine. That's definitely genuine. So there are alternate hypotheses as well. And likewise, we may talk about is the slide visible to you?
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Oh, fine. Again, has there been a change in the slide? Now it is directional hypothesis, non-directional. Is it like
No,
that?
not visible, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it visible?
Yes, it is visible. Types of hypothesis. Descriptive hypothesis.
What about this descriptive hypothesis? Is now
Yes,
that
sir.
visible?
Descriptive hypothesis visible,
Yes,
sir.
yes. No, it is visible. So we have as a descriptive hypothesis. So we say that again, we have no cause and effect relationship. Likewise, we have got correlation hypothesis. Job satisfaction is associated with organizational commitment. We may straight away have this. Now, we come to a point where we say that we may conduct a research which is a deductive one, and we may have a research which is an inductive one. In a deductive kind of a research, existing theory is there, existing literature is there, that becomes the basis for us to formulate the hypothesis. And how then we collect the data, we analyze data, we use different tools and techniques on the data, and finally we accept or we reject the hypothesis. Well, when it comes to the inductive reasoning, there are specific observations and there are patterns being drawn or recognized, and finally you make a kind of a general conclusion. Because in inductive, there is no prior research as such available. You are the one who tries to come up with your own thinking about something or your own conclusions, specific observations, and pattern as recognized. I always give an example in this regard that if suppose you are not used to a spicy food, and somehow it happens once you go somewhere and take a spicy food and your stomach got upset. Now, that's not something that you should finally conclude that my stomach was upset because I took a spicy food. Maybe you have to just wait and watch. Now, next time again, after say by 10 days, you take a spicy food and again your stomach upsets. There becomes now a kind of a reason for you to believe in that spicy food is creating a problem to my stomach. Now, again, you may not conclude it again. You may say, still, I will have to just wait. So, then again, if third time or fourth time, it so happens, you may have no other, I can say, choice but accept that the spicy food causes problems to my stomach. You are now concluding something. You had a very general specific observation in the beginning, then the specific one, then it gave birth to a pattern recognition. You're trying to correlate it with the stomach being upset and the food that you took today or 10 days back or 15 days back or 20 days back. You just try to collaborate and collaborate with these observations and finally look at that ultimately they have become a reason for you to have this problem. Now, when it comes to the hypothesis, you have to also bear in mind that there are some important components of hypothesis. Hypothesis cannot be just formulated. You have to keep in mind many things before you come up with a hypothesis. The first and foremost is, of course, the sample. If you're doing an empirical kind of a study, if you're doing a study on some, I can say, people, your respondents, you have to have it. Sample has to be there. Then variables. Again, an important component of our hypothesis formulation or the component of hypothesis is actually the what is called a variable. A variable is actually something on which you are conducting your research. And we should bear in mind that today researchers have got a number of facilities at their disposal. And researchers should not be in any way encouraged to have 2, 3 variables alone for the research purposes, but they should go beyond that, 5, 6. That will help them in many ways. The first and foremost would be that they would be in a position to draw some relevant conclusions, because from within those particular constructs you have taken, which are available in a particular phenomenon, you have taken a good number of those, I can say, research variables. That will help you to come up with some rigorous, I can say, connotations and I can say results, rigorous results. Second is that you would be in a better position to have your papers published in some reputed journals. Third one is that there are so many facilities available to today's researchers, be it YouTube, be it any other social media platform that will help a scholar to basically do a very good, very conclusive kind of research. So therefore, we should always try to, what we may say, encourage our scholars to necessarily go for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 variables at a time. One, it will have them publication in some good journals. Second, they have got the facilities and they can make use of those facilities in order to arrive at some, I can say, relevant results and findings. Now, in this context, what are some of the important variables that you might have to look into? For example, we have a variable which is called independent variable, dependent variable, outcome variable. We are normally concerned with an independent variable. But independent variable per se will not help us unless and until we know what result should be there. Suppose if a head of the department or a head of the institution wants that his workforce should be very happy, happy is a dependent variable. Happiness in the workforce is a dependent variable. It is subject to something. It is subject to how you deal with them, what kinds of facilities you have created for them, what kinds of avenues they have for their growth, professional development, achievements, and advancements. Blah, blah, blah. Number of things. All these become kind of independent variables because on these very variables lie the very happiness of the employees, lie the very engagement of the employees, lie the very satisfaction of the employees, their commitment. So we say that these are the variables which are dependent. They are dependent on something, which is what we call as an independent variable. So if at all we have to do any kind of maneuvering or manipulation, that has to be done with the independent variable. So if I want my employees should show a high amount of engagement at the workplace, I have to look what kinds of facilities I'm providing to the employees so that they can give their best to the company. Independent variable is always a variable that can be changed in order to bring the desired goals and objectives and outcomes. Likewise, we have a variable called the mediating variable. The job of the variable is to connect two independent variables. So per se, these two variables, A and B, may not have been so much in close rapport or relation with each other, but because the third person has entered into the picture, he is in a position to mediate the relationship or to, I can say, change the relationship. And they become or they come closer to each other. So mediating variable has got a very essential role to play when it comes to forging a relationship between an independent variable and dependent variable. Then there is a variable called a moderating variable. This moderating variable does not necessarily relate to the independent variable in that context, but it does do, one thing that it strengthens or it weakens the relationship between the two variables. Just a minute, please. Just a minute. I have some important call to attend, please. हेलो, गुड आफ्टरनून सर. बिल्कुल ठीक. आप सुनाइए, सब ठीक चल रहा है? और सुनो. अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा. अच्छा अच्छा. अच्छा अच्छा. अच्छा, डेट क्या क्या है आपकी? अच्छा, इन दो डेट्स में से. अच्छा अच्छा. अच्छा, ठीक रहेगा 6th. हाँ, मैं बताऊंगा आपको. जस्ट अ मिनट. मैं मुझे सिर्फ एक चीज देखना है यहाँ पर. अरे देश. तो मेरे ख्याल में 3 आप रख सकते हो. 3 एक रख सकते हैं. और 3 में यहाँ पर लिख देता हूँ. 3 मैं लिख देता हूँ. और मैंने कल कोई किसी को डेट दिया था, वो यहाँ पर लिखा हुआ नहीं है. दैट्स अ प्रॉब्लम. एक मिनट, मैं अभी देखता हूँ उसका. एक मिनट, इधर ही है. हाँ, यस यस, आई गॉट इट. 5th और 7th मेरा बंद है. 5th और 7th. किस टाइम पे? एक ही टाइम में. तो फिर 6 को रखिएगा. विल दैट बी फाइन? हाँ, 6 को. हाँ, अलग अलग, अलग अलग करूंगा मैं, ठीक है, 3 और 6 करेंगे अलग अलग, ठीक है। अच्छा 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 अच्छा, ठीक है, दैट विल डू, दैट विल डू, नो इश्यूज, ठीक है। हाँ, ठीक, अच्छा अच्छा, अलग, चलो ठीक है, चलो ठीक है, दैट विल डू, नो इश्यूज। हाँ यार, या ये हो सकता था, अगर 4 को हो सकता था एक, और 3 को 1, 6 को 2, विल दैट बी फाइन? 3 को 1, 4 को 1, 6 को 2, हाँ, अगर पॉसिबल रहेगा। ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है। हाँ हाँ, 3 और 4, ठीक है। हम्म, ठीक है, ठीक है, नो इश्यूज, ठीक, I will get back to you, I will give you the these details of the sessions as well, ठीक है, after maybe 20 minutes or so, okay, okay, thank you very much, sorry. So we're talking about the mediating or a moderate. Then moderating is a variable which is basically concerned with strengthening or weakening the relationship between the two variables. Likewise, we have a control variable where we say that there is no possibility and there is no, in fact, a possibility in the sense that one independent variable would be related to a particular dependent variable, because there are so many independent variables, antecedents that are possible to have an impact on a dependent variable. Therefore, in order to play safe, we have some of the variables to be considered as control variables. If we will not control for them, the results will not be genuine or accurate. They will not be genuine or accurate. So, what does that actually mean? For example, we have to look at the for example, we have to look at the absenteeism, the reasons for absenteeism, or happiness, or engagement, satisfaction, many such kinds of variables in the organizational context. Now, the size of the organization plays a very important role. Size of the organization, size of the firm. And if we have got firms with different sizes, some of the firms having employees worth 100, 200, 300, 500, 1000 plus 1000, 1500, 2000, 3000. The scenario of the firms will be different in context to their size. Now, if we take into consideration all these different kinds of firms and do a research on them without looking at the size of their firms, the results would never be genuine. Because for a class of companies which have got employees more than 1000, more than 1500, their ways of doing the things, procedures, and processes would surely be different from the company which has got very little number of employees. So we cannot generalize the, I can say, the results of such companies which are heterogeneous in terms of the size. So in order to do away with that, we take into account the control. We control the variables. We say that we want to see if you have taken all these different kinds of companies, what we will do ultimately is that we will make a sifting. We will categorize them into firms low, medium, and high, either in terms of the definition that is given by the government, or we may say that we may consider the firms which have got the employees from 100 to 500 will be low, 500 to 1500 medium, 1500 beyond any number as the, I can say, the firms which are high in size. Likewise, we got some extraneous variables, quantitative, qualitative. Again, those variables which have got an impact on the relationship between two variables, but we may not consider them while conducting research and while indicating their findings. But findings will surely be different. For example, during COVID-19, we know that we had various problems with the students. Classes were to be taken online. While we took online classes, then exams were also to be conducted online. And what we eventually could see is that there's a huge, for example, a difference in the grades. Some students getting good grades, some students do not get good grades. And we eventually make this that these are the students who have been very studious, doing very wonderfully well, even in online examinations. While some who got very low, without looking at various other important factors that might have resulted in some students getting good grades, some students not getting good grades. For example, I may give an example of some of the students who got a good grade, but then we could come to know about several important facilities that they had. One, their parents were educated ones, or they had very close siblings, suppose an elder brother or a sister, educated ones. They were higher in their classes than the ones their siblings, brothers or sisters, whom they could teach, because private tuition was again very much impossible. Students would not move out of their homes, but they had their own parents or their own siblings living with them. As a result, they were at the advantageous position, or else internet facilities were available to them, or smartphones were available to them. They had all good gadgets available to them to study. And in comparison to that, there were students who hadn't had all these kinds of facilities. Now, how can you make a comparison between the two? How can you say that these students are more studious than the ones are not? Without looking at some extraneous, I can say, issues or variables that have their role to play in the relationship between the two. So, therefore, we have at times to keep in mind these extraneous variables who have got an impact on the relationship between two variables. Now, before we move on to finalizing or concluding, since I said in the beginning also we will have some scenarios to discuss, and I would like to focus on the mediating variables first here. Mediating variables are those particular variables which are responsible for the relationship between an independent variable and a dependent variable. They indicate why or how the independent variable is related to a dependent variable. How an independent variable is related to a dependent variable. And there are some conditions given. Have you heard about Baron and Kenny? Have you heard about Baron and Kenny? No idea? Okay, no idea about it. Baron and Kenny came up with 4 important conditions with regard to testing the mediation. And these are the conditions that are very visible in the slide. The independent variable must be related to significantly to a dependent variable. Independent variable must significantly affect the mediator. The mediator must have a statistically significant relationship or an influence on the dependent variable. And the relationship between two variables, that is independent dependent variable, must decrease substantially upon adding a mediator as a predictor. Now, what does that actually mean? So we have a variable x and variable y. X is independent, y is dependent variable. The first condition here is that independent variable x must influence the dependent variable y. Second one is variable x must influence the variable m. M is a mediating variable. The third one is that m, that is a mediating variable, should significantly influence the variable y. 3 conditions. The fourth one is that upon adding variable m in the relationship between variable x and y, the relationship between x and y should come drastically down. That means, suppose the correlation between variable x and variable y is suppose 0.70. Now, once you will add variable m, this correlation should drastically come down from 0.70 to say 0.40, 0.45, 0.50. That means the relation should not remain the same as it was earlier, because we have now added a third variable, which is a mediating variable. Now, what does that actually mean? For a proper understanding of this mediation, we have to keep in mind that if there are, say, for example, two persons, they are sitting to each other, they're talking to each other, they're conversing with each other, and we have a third person coming and joining them in a conversation. Now, A or X and Y, they are talking to each other, they are conversing with each other, they are sitting there somewhere, and a third person, M, comes and joins. Mediator. He is not a mediator, but I'm just giving an example to you. Now, X has started inclining more towards M. He is more conversing with M than he conversing now with Y. That means the conversation, the relation that was already between X and Y has come drastically down now because the intervention or because of the involvement of the M, the third person. That indicates that when a third variable is inducted, when a third variable is introduced, the relationship between the first two persons should definitely come down. That is one way doing it. The other way doing is that there was a kind of a criticism to this kind of a conditioning, Baron and Kenny's conditions. And that criticism was leveled by Zhou, Leach, and Chen. These three scholars, they said that we need not necessarily to look at these four different kinds of conditions in order to test the mediation of variable x and y or mediation of variable m. What we should do and look at is that there is a scope and there is a possibility that it will be the variable just okay. Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Audible, sir.
Yeah, I'm
Yes, sir.
audible
Yes.
to you.
Yes.
Look, that one way of testing the mediation is that of the conditions given by Bernard Kenny. But Zhou, Leach, and Chen, they refuted or they kind of leveled a criticism against these conditions. They said that if variable x is not related directly to variable y, we cannot say still that variable x is not actually responsible for, any change in variable y. What they suggest is that if variable x is indirectly influencing variable y, still we can say that x is a important variable. It has got something to do with variable y. Now, what does that mean? I give again a very simple example to you. Go back to your own departments. Look at the heads of the departments. Look at the colleagues you are and your students. We have three. We have one head of the department. We have several colleagues working in the department. Then they go the students. Now, possibility is that head of the department is doing absolutely fine with his colleagues. He is very accessible, affable, approachable, listens to the various queries, issues, and problems of his staff, of his faculty. And what happens with that? It is it his way of dealing with his colleagues creates a very enabling atmosphere in the department. And as a result of that, the faculty members remain very happy, very satisfied with the conduct of the head of the department, and it gets reflected in how they behave with the students, how nicely they interact with the students, because it has got a ripple over effect. That means head of the department is not directly involved in the happiness of the students. He does not most of the time meet the students. Or for that matter, take the case of the vice chancellor. Rarely head of the department would directly get involved with the students. It is mostly the faculty members. Now, if faculty members get impressed by the conduct of the head of the department, and positively the head of the department influences the psyche, the understanding, of the faculty members, and they in turn influence the students, we can say that head of the department has been indirectly involved in the satisfaction of the students. Zhou, Lynch, and Chen had that perspective on it. That's how they wanted to explain that it's not a must that variable X should necessarily directly influence the variable Y. X variable can influence Y via a medium that is a M variable. So they give some examples also of this, and I think that we are done with the time, but if you have some more time, we can continue with, or if you've got some questions, you can raise some questions also. It's up to you. How you want me to proceed on? Shall I move forward?
Thank you, sir. I think we allowed whatever will be the allotted time, that will be already over, sir. So if couple of parties there, you can please be continue. Either our next expert has already joined, sir.
Okay, sir. If they have got any questions or queries,
Participant, if you have any questions or a couple of queries, you can directly ask to Professor Nazir, sir. Please, anyway, that will be really appreciable.
नजीर साहब अस्सलाम वालेकुम प्रोफेसर अंकुश आनंद हियर
वालेकुम अस्सलाम, हाउ आर यू सर? फाइन।
मैं ठीक हूँ कैसे हैं आप अच्छे से
हाँ बिल्कुल ठीक, आप सुनाइए, सब ठीक चल
तो
रहा है?
आई हैव जॉइंड सो आई वाज वेटिंग फॉर माय सेशन तो देखा आपका सेशन चल रहा है
अच्छा,
चलिए अच्छा
अच्छा,
लगा करूंगा आपसे बात करूंगा बाद में बात अच्छा लगा अच्छा जी जी
श्योर सर, श्योर सर।
Yes, anyone has any questions? If there are no questions, then we can conclude. Please confirm anyone.
Okay.
Sir, I think there are no more questions. So if you could permit, shall we conclude, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So nice of you, sir.
So on behalf of Malvi Mission Teacher Training Centers and Garge Baba Rauti University, Sandeep Institute of Technology and Research Center Nasik, and all the participants, those who have present in this virtual platform, I extend my sincere thanks to Professor Nazir, sir, for such an important and wonderful session towards the development of this hypothesis for our research purpose. Sir, definitely we will try to inculcate your inputs while conducting our research, and that will be really your inputs are very important and valuable for us, and we'll try to inculcate it in our research. With this, I once again extend my sincere thanks to you for your precious time and thought-provoking session here. And with the kind consent of Professor Nazir, sir, I would like to declare that first session will be over here. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, so great of you for inviting me and for giving me a chance to interact with your valued participants. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So, participant, I think we should continue for the next session, but we will take the consent from our expert first, and then we will start with the session. Hello, Professor Ankush, sir.
yes I'm here yes
Yeah, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
good afternoon कैसे हैं आप अच्छे से ठीक
Sir,
हैं
बढ़िया, sir. So, shall we start with the session, sir? If you could.
जी जरूर
So, friends, I extend my warm welcome, first of all, to our esteemed expert, Professor Ankush Anand, sir, to this flagship program, and particular to this session that is organized by the Malvi Mission Teacher Training Centers and Garge Baba Amravati University, and one of our leading institution in Maharashtra, Sandeep Institute of Technology and Research Center, Nasik. I once again welcome you all. Friends, as I have earlier told you that before commencing the session, that today's session have been split into the two different parts. First part, at most we have completed, and now we are moving with the another part of the today's session. Before starting the session, I would like to request all the participants to kindly switch on their video, because it is not a session. It is we are going in a dialogue mode. Because whenever we are talking about the institutional governance and management, without participation of participants, those who have present in this, and their active participation, not only the participation, it is not possible to build a governance. Okay. So I will request all the participants to please switch on their videos so you can get more, we can make this session more interactive. Friends, one of the important and the leading theme of this flagship program, that is the institutional governance and management. And you know that being the academic leader, we are the driven forces behind this institutional management. Because whatever may be the institutional ranking in this NAC, NRIF, or now we are talking about the this QS as well as Aura or Shanghai ranking. So in this global concept of ranking, institutional ranking, the institutional leaders are very much important, and they should be enthusiastic to make our institution more more important in these terms, like as the research outcomes, institutional development, as well as the institutional governance. And we play the different roles like as the dean as well as head of the department. Sometimes we are the coordinators of different schemes or different portfolio also. So what are the role of our academic leader in institutional governance and its development, and how we should achieve that? We will going to talk about this much important aspect in this session. So friends, to discuss this important aspect, today we have with us a very great, dynamic and senior personality in this field of higher education ecosystem, Professor Ankush Anand sir. Sir, warmly welcome you on this
Thank you, namaskar, thank you, namaskar.
Friends, Professor Ankush Anand sir is a faculty member at the School of Mechanical Engineering at Sri Mata Vaishno Devi University, situated in the Katra, Jammu and Kashmir. With nearly 2.5 decades of experience in the teaching, research, he has made a significant contribution to the field of product sustainability, multi-criteria decision making, and the decision algorithm. His core area of research interest that includes the sustainable product design, sustainable risk assessment, sustainable supply chain management, sustainable chain supply management, natural fiber composites, tribonology, and advanced decision support system. He has successfully supervised 6 PhD scholars in these and allied areas. Professor Anand sir has an impressive publication record with more than 80 research articles published in the SCI and the Scopus Index journal, including the several high-impact international journals. Notably, he has also published his work in the prestigious Journal of American Society of the Mechanical Engineering. He has actively engaged with the global research community through the international academic visits to the countries such as USA, UK, Australia, and Turkey, where he has also served as a session chair at the international conferences. He has presented his research at the renowned institute that includes the Imperial College of London in the UK. In recognition of his research excellence, Professor Anand sir has been awarded with the DST Young Scientist Grant for presenting his work at ASME conference at Los Angeles, USA. He served as a reviewer for the several reputed international journals that includes the Journal of Linear Production, Archive of the Computational Methods in the Engineering, Polymer Composites, Computer Integrated Manufacturing System, Journal of Industrial Journal of Industrial Engineering, Concurrent Engineering, then the Journal of Intelligent and the Fuzzy System, Tribonology and the Industry, and the Material Research, etc. Professor Ankush Anand sir currently focusing on the research related to the changing dynamics of this higher education in our great country, with the special emphasis on the challenges of the implementation of this national education policy, particularly from a sustainability perspective. So friends, this is a brief introduction with regards to Professor.
मेरी मीटिंग चल रही है.
Before starting the session, I would like to request all the participants once again to please switch on your video so the session can make more interactive. With this, sir, I once again extend my warm welcome to this platform and to this particular session, and request you to please start with your session. So please.
So thank you very much for such a very nice introduction that you have read based on my profile. So I don't know from where you got my profile, but anyways, whatever you said, thank you very much. So first of all, I am thankful to the Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center, Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University, who in collaboration with other institute are organizing this NEP orientation and sensitization program for the benefit of teaching fraternity. So I am thankful that I have been given the opportunity to speak one of the very important dimensions of NEP 2020. I hope my voice is clear to you. I hope my voice is clear to you. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So to talk about one of the important dimensions of NEP 2020, So that is academic leadership, but I'll talk from the perspective of academic planning for higher education institutions, basically. So it is more or less on similar lines we'll talk about. So this is what basically we'll be discussing as a part of this NEP. So should we start, or you want a break for 4 or 5 minutes? Because I think the session has just started, the previous session. You want a break for 5 minutes, or should we start? Please let me know. Accordingly, I'll channelize my presentation. Or if somebody wants to have a break, means if the participants, I can break for 5 minutes, no issues. Should we take a break for 5 minutes? Participant, please let me know.
No, sir. Continue, sir.
Okay, okay. Thank you. As Dr. Pawan Baravkar, okay.
Yes.
You're from Maharashtra. Okay, good. So I must say, first of all, Jai Mata Di to all of you, because I'm speaking from the holy town of Katra, Shri Mata Vaishno Devi Shrine. So Jai Mata Di to all of you, to all my participants. Dear participants, just 2 days back, on 29th of July, 2026, we have completed 6 years of NEP implementation. So it was on 29 July 2020 when this NEP was launched by our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji in the presence of the then Education Minister. I still recall those days because that was actually the mid-COVID period, we can say, in 2020 is that time when this policy was actually launched for the entire nation. Now, to continue in this, just first of all, let me just share my PPT. Just a minute. Okay, just. Is my screen visible to you? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, visual.
No.
No. No, sir. Not visible, sir.
I'm sorry,
Yes,
I had
visible.
to. I'm sorry. Okay. PPT is visible, I hope so.
Yes, sir,
Visible, sir.
visual.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So we'll talk about academic leadership, governance, and management. So being a part of the NEP program, so as I said, just 2 days back, we completed 6 years of NEP implementation. So we are into 7th year now. A lot of orientation and sensitization sessions throughout the country have been organized and are being organized maybe for next another 2 or 3 more months from now. The larger objective is that our faculty should get sensitized that what exactly has to be done under NEP 2020 and what basically NEP 2020 is. So this is day 3 or day 4 of the program, sir, Dr. Pawan Kumar ji?
Day 6. Day 6.
Day 6. Okay, day 6. So we can say you have almost crossed 50% of the journey, right? So now, dear participants, before I actually start my presentation, I just want to know the domains in which the participants are teaching. I mean your subject areas. And one thing more, should I continue in English or you want me to use Hindi also? Or I should be bilingual? Or otherwise, English is comfortable with everyone?
Both are comfortable, sir.
Okay, I should be bilingual. You mean to say I should be bilingual? Hindi भी use करूँ बीच में?
If
You
you
want
want,
me
then use, sir.
ठीक है, मैं बीच में हिंदी भी थोड़ा यूज करूंगा. ठीक है, चलेगा. Okay. So may I have the domains in which the participants are working? May I have the domains in which the participants are working? Mean the teaching, your subject areas of specialization.
Yes, sir.
Teaching, sir.
Just randomly. Okay, that way I'll ask anyone from mathematics, anyone from computer science, anyone from history, economics, sociology, political science, biochemistry, biotechnology, या कोई भी discipline जो है जिसमें आप पढ़ाते हैं, जिसके आप faculty हैं.
No, sir, sorry to interrupt you, sir. Actually,
Automation and robotics.
we have launched this program in the collaboration of one of our engineering institution. So all the faculty from the engineering background, sir.
Okay, just a minute. Just a minute. I think there is some problem with my connection. Just give me 2 minutes. I'll resume. Just give me 2 minutes.
Definitely, sir. Definitely.
My voice is audible now. I think I have stable connection now. Am I audible? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so we'll talk about academic leadership, governance and management, but more precisely, I'll talk about academic planning for higher education institutions. तो पहले हम अगर एकेडमिक लीडरशिप की बात करें या गवर्नेंस या मैनेजमेंट, उससे पहले हम चाहते हैं हम थोड़ी एनईपी की बात करेंगे. पार्टिसिपेंट्स, व्हाट इज योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग अबाउट एनईपी? इज इट नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी, इज इट न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी, और इज इट समथिंग एल्स?
National education policy.
National education policy. Okay, many people believe it is national education policy. The answer is correct, but it is also referred to as new education policy. Why? Because it is a new concept of education for the Indian society. So some people also believe it as a new education policy. So that is also correct. Now, if we go into the history of education policy in India, the first education policy in India was launched in the year 1968 by the then Prime Minister of India, late Srimati Indira Gandhi ji, keeping in view the availability of expertise, the resources available, the infrastructure at that time, and also considering the fact that a large number of youth are to be enrolled into the process of learning. And in order to have some system of education in the country, the first education policy was launched by the policy makers in 1960s. So it was in 1968. And then in the year 1986, the second education policy called NPE, National Policy on Education. It was launched in the year 1986 by the then government again. And in the year 2009, there came an act called Right to Education Act. And in the year 2014, with the government being taken over by our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, the government decided to have a new system of education. That was what given the called NEP 2020, National Education Policy 2020, or New Education Policy 2020. कुछ भी बोलिए, National Education Policy, New Education Policy, अभी हम इसको थोड़ा decode करेंगे आगे जाके. Now, can anyone tell me with respect to the higher education institutions in the country, जितने हमारे देश में, भारत देश में कॉलेजेस हैं, यूनिवर्सिटीज हैं, विश्वविद्यालय या जितने भी हायर लर्निंग इंस्टीट्यूट हैं, कोई मुझे बता सकता है how many higher education institutions are there in the country? Any idea with respect to the statistics of higher education institutions in the country? कितने हैं हमारे ये? Any idea? Any participant, if you can try? Means maybe the numbers. कितने कॉलेजेस होंगे, कितने यूनिवर्सिटीज होंगे? आइडिया है किसी को? भारत देश में इतना बड़ा हमारा देश है, कितने होंगे? Anyone who can try? Just randomly आप बताइए. You may be right, you may not be right, doesn't matter. Just for discussion purpose मैं पूछ रहा हूँ आपसे. Yes, Dr. Pawan.
1000 plus है sir.
1000 plus. Okay, 1000 plus what, colleges or universities?
Universities.
Universities. Okay, you are from which discipline, Dr. Pawan? Electrical, computer?
Mechanical engineer.
Oh, you are also from mechanical. I am also mechanical engineer. Good. Glad to see. Okay, good. Mechanical. 1000 universities you are saying. Okay. Anyone else? कोई और? मनोज बालेराव साहब, आप बताएंगे?
It's more than 60,000 institutes, sir, as per ASE.
Okay, yes, good. You are very much, you are somewhat closer to it. Okay, so as per the All India Survey for Higher Education, जिसको हम AISHE बोलते हैं, as per the All India Survey for Higher Education, in India we have nearly, ये 2021 का सर्वे मैं बता रहा हूँ, 2021 अभी हमारे पास लेटेस्ट अवेलेबल नहीं है, 2021 का जो है, we have nearly 46,272 colleges, we have 1368 universities, then some standalone institutions, and then some institutions of national importance like IITs, NITs, then Indian Institute of Science, Indian Statistical Institute, and then we have Banaras Hindu University, Aligarh Muslim University, then Delhi University, Bombay University, Kolkata University, Madras University, क्योंकि पहले हम दिल्ली बॉम्बे कोलकाता मद्रास बोलते थे, तो आजकल वही जैसे मुंबई है, कोलकाता है और चेन्नई है, उसी तरीके से हमारी और जितनी with due respect to every institution of the country, with respect to every educational setup of the country, then apart from that we have deemed universities, then private universities, then what you call central universities and other standalone institutions, IIMs. तो कितना बड़ा ढांचा है हमारे भारत देश का, अगर हम बात करें कितना बड़ा ढांचा है। अब जो उस समय के प्रधानमंत्री थे हमारे, बहुत पहले अगर हम बात करें, लेट पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू जी, उनका एक यूनिवर्सिटी सिस्टम के बारे में, एक यूनिवर्सिटी के मॉडल ऑफ एजुकेशन के बारे में एक विजन था, एक उनकी सोच थी, राइट। वो क्या थी, उन्होंने क्या कहा, a university, I hope you are able to see this slide, you are able to see this slide, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. उन्होंने कहा, a university stands for humanism, for tolerance, for reason, for the adventure of ideas, and for the search of truth. It stands for the onward march of the human race towards ever higher objectives. If the universities discharge their duties adequately, then it is well within the nation and the people. But if the temple of learning itself becomes a home of narrow bigotry and petty objectives, how then will the nation prosper, or how people will grow in stature? So once again, I am going to read. A university stands for humanism, यानी कि यूनिवर्सिटी में क्या क्या होना चाहिए, हायर एजुकेशन में बच्चे बच्चियों को क्या सिखाना चाहिए, जो बच्चे बच्चियां यहाँ पे दाखिला लेते हैं, एडमिशन लेते हैं, प्रवेश लेते हैं, उनको हमें क्या क्या सिखाना चाहिए, उससे हम क्या एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं। यूनिवर्सिटी स्टैंड्स फॉर ह्यूमैनिज्म, फॉर टॉलरेंस, फॉर रीजन, फॉर द एडवेंचर ऑफ आइडियाज एंड फॉर द सर्च ऑफ ट्रुथ। It stands for the onward march of the human race towards ever higher objectives. If the university discharge their duties adequately, then it is well within the nation and the people. But the temple of learning itself becomes a home of narrow bigotry and petty objectives. How then will the nation prosper or people grow in stature? तो ये उस समय के प्रधानमंत्री जी का विजन था। किसी यूनिवर्सिटी दीक्षांत समारोह में, किसी यूनिवर्सिटी कॉन्वोकेशन में उन्होंने ये बात बोली थी कि यूनिवर्सिटी सिस्टम कैसा होना चाहिए, हायर एजुकेशन सिस्टम हमारा कैसा होना चाहिए। अभी हमने बात करी कि भारत देश जो हमारा इतना बड़ा देश है कि अप्रोक्सीमेटली हमारे 46,272 कॉलेजेस हैं, 1368 यूनिवर्सिटीज हैं, और सारे इंस्टीट्यूट, सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटीज, डीम्ड यूनिवर्सिटीज, IIMs, IIT सब कुछ मिला के, ओके, बहुत बड़ा स्ट्रक्चर, बहुत बड़ा ढांचा है। नाउ इफ द पॉपुलेशन ऑफ द कंट्री, यानी कि भारत देश की अगर जनसंख्या की अगर बात करें, अगर 142 करोड़ प्लस भारत देश की जनसंख्या है, पॉपुलेशन है, then approximately how many number of learners, means our youth, ये बच्चे बच्चियां जो हमारे हैं, लड़के लड़कियां, how many number of youth join the process of learning every year in higher education? कोई बता सकता है मुझे? जस्ट एक अनुमान, जस्ट एक अंदाजा, जस्ट डॉक्टर मनोज आप बताएंगे, और मे बी योगेंद्र यादव जी, एनीवन रैंडमली कोई भी। अगर 142 करोड़ पॉपुलेशन है तो कितने बच्चे बच्चियां हर साल कॉलेज और यूनिवर्सिटी में जाते हैं? जी डॉक्टर योगेंद्र यादव जी बोलिए।
सर अप्रोक्सीमेट 25 to 30 करोड़।
25 to 30 crore, it may be a very big number you are saying. I am not saying you're wrong, but let us say in several millions. Let us say let us say in several millions, and if 1 million is 10 lakh, मेरा अपना अंदाजा ये है जो अभी तक असेसमेंट हम कर पाए हैं, 4 करोड़ से 5 करोड़, 4 करोड़ से 5 करोड़ बच्चे बच्चियां जो है वो कॉलेज और यूनिवर्सिटी में दाखिला लेते हैं, एडमिशन लेते हैं, यानी हायर एजुकेशन में। हाँ, हम स्कूल्स की बात नहीं कर रहे, हम हायर एजुकेशन, कॉलेज और यूनिवर्सिटी। अब इतना बड़ा हमारा देश है। Now, when these young men and women join the process of learning by pursuing any particular course or a program of study in any institution of higher learning in the country, with due respect to every educational institution of the country of higher education, what at the end of the day the learner, means the user expects, the student expects, or their parents expects. So there are two scenarios. What are those? One is either he or she will be job seeker, यानी कि रोजगार मांगेगा, and the other is he or she will be job giver, यानी कि रोजगार देने वाला बनेगा. So majority of us are those जो हम रोजगार मांगते हैं, we are in search of jobs, हमें employment चाहिए, रोजगार चाहिए, okay. And there are others who say no, we don't want to seek jobs, we want to give jobs, so we will become entrepreneurs, we will have our own enterprise, we will have our own industry, company, business establishment, or any corporate concern, so that we can offer jobs, right? These are two scenarios. And the third scenario which has emerged during the last 15-20 years is the concept of startups. जो स्टार्टअप इको कल्चर है, स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम है भारत देश में, तो वो भी क्या है, एक तरह का देखा जाए, some level of creation of jobs we can expect from the startups also. Yes or no? That is also some level of creation of jobs, depending upon the size of the startup, depending upon the quantum of the startup or the structure of the startup, that is there. But the question is, where are the jobs? Where are the jobs? Do we have ample number of employment opportunities which we can offer to our youth? So that is a major question. So that is why the academicians, the academic fraternity, in collaboration with industry, in collaboration with civil society, in collaboration with the government agencies or any form of recruiters, we have to form a holistic system of teaching learning process such that we should focus more and more on job opportunities, so that we should focus on more and more employment. No doubt, every government from time to time, they had a vision, they have been doing these type of things, but what has been done under NEP 2020, that I'm going to decode maybe after next 1 or 2 slides. So now the thing is, if I ask you as participant who happens to be faculty members, many of you must be parents also, right? So I'll just ask one question. What was the need for introducing or launching NEP 2020? क्यों लाया गया? NEP 2020 को क्यों लागू किया गया? क्यों लाया गया? अबे बोरा साहब आप बोलेंगे? डॉक्टर अबे बोरा साहब आप बोलेंगे? जी, जस्ट आप ट्राई कर सकते हैं. यस.
Basically, sir, to restructure the entire education system and काफी सालों से ओल्ड सिस्टम जो चल रहा था उसमें स्टूडेंट सेंट्रिक जो काफी चेंजेस जो रिक्वायर्ड थे वो नहीं थे उसमें, तो वो
ओके ओके.
फॉरवर्ड करने के लिए.
आप किस विषय के फैकल्टी हैं सर?
मैनेजमेंट सर.
अच्छा, यू आर फ्रॉम मैनेजमेंट. ओके. यू आर फ्रॉम अमरावती, राइट?
नो सर, आई एम फ्रॉम नासिक. संदीप
Nasik, Sandeep from Nasik. Okay, good.
Yes.
You're from management. Okay. Any other participant? Because ये जानना बहुत जरूरी है, ये जानना बहुत आवश्यक है कि एनईपी को लागू क्यों किया गया है. Was it the mandate of the government? The answer was no. ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं था. Okay, I'll answer because हमारे पास समय कम है. Soon after taking over the government led by Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, जब 2014 में उन्होंने सरकार बनाई अपनी पहली बार जब आए वो, the government came with an idea that why not to have a new system of education. Now again the question is, why to have a new system of education? Some people believe, sir, change was imminent. समय बदलाव मांग रहा था, वो जरूरी था. वर्ल्ड ऑर्डर चेंज हो रहा है, इसलिए बिल्कुल ठीक है. तो क्या पिछली शिक्षा नीतियों में वर्ल्ड ऑर्डर चेंज नहीं हो रहा था? हो रहा था. तब भी समय समय पर बदलाव किए जाते थे, राइट? कुछ लोग बोलते हैं सर स्किल बेस्ड एजुकेशन पे फोकस करना था. तो अब मेरे यहाँ तो अभी ऑडियंस ही हमारे इतने हैं, पार्टिसिपेंट इतने हैं. मैं भी मैकेनिकल इंजीनियर हूँ, आप सब मैकेनिकल इंजीनियर, यहाँ डिफरेंट पार्टिसिपेंट जितने भी हैं हमारे व्हाट यू कॉल एज फैकल्टी मेंबर जो इंजीनियरिंग टेक्नोलॉजी मैनेजमेंट के फैकल्टी हैं. तो आपके साथ तो बहुत ईजी है ये क्वेश्चन समझना और आंसर करना कि जब लोग बोलते हैं सर पहले ना स्किल बेस्ड एजुकेशन नहीं था, सो कैन वी से अर्लियर स्किल बेस्ड एजुकेशन वाज नॉट देयर? द आंसर इज नो, because had there been no skill based education, there would have been no buildings, no bridges, no dams, no physical infrastructure, no transportation system, no automobiles, no healthcare facilities, medical centers, or maybe medical institutions, or maybe any form of power transmission system. या जो भी आप infrastructure आज देख रहे हैं, skill based education था, तभी तो possible है. But yes, certainly the answer is that it was confined only to few programs, like programs of engineering and technology, or maybe ITIs या polytechnic, तो वहां तक सीमित था, राइट? बट अभी एनईपी में कुछ और कर दिया गया है, तो स्किल का भी इशू नहीं है. नो डाउट स्किल को इंट्रोड्यूस दिया गया है, स्किल के ऊपर बहुत फोकस किया गया है, स्किल के ऊपर बहुत महत्व दिया गया है, वो हम बात करेंगे. बट सवाल यही है कि एनईपी को लागू क्यों किया गया था. तो इसका जवाब ये है, देयर वर टू बेसिक रीजंस व्हाई एनईपी वाज इंट्रोड्यूस्ड और लॉन्च्ड. व्हाट वर दोस? नंबर 1, it was realized over a period of time that, ध्यान से सुनिएगा इसको, it was realized over a period of time that majority of the graduates who graduated from different colleges, institutions of higher learning, or other form of university system of education, majority of the graduates, when they participated in the process of recruitment by various companies, maybe government agencies, or maybe private companies, or any form of recruitment process in which they participated, majority of them were non-employable. यानी कि वो रोजगार के काबिल ही नहीं थे. अब सवाल ये है, वो रोजगार के काबिल नहीं थे, ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है? How it is possible? So it was realized that whatever was being delivered by the education institutions, with due respect to every education institution of the country, and whatever was being expected by the companies or the recruiters, that was something different. यानी कि deliver कुछ और हो रहा था और expect कुछ और किया जा रहा था. It means there was some gap, there was some mismatch, there was some gap, there was a mismatch. Now who investigated this? It was on the basis of the task force constituted by our honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, and he named a committee called NEP 2020 drafting committee headed by Professor K Kasturi Rangan as a chairperson. तो उन्होंने एक कमेटी बना दी, एक टास्क फोर्स बना दी कि आप बताइए हमारे देश में अब किस तरह के शिक्षा के सिस्टम की सुधार है. तो ऑब्जेक्टिव ये था that to make the youth of our country more and more employable, more and more employable. अब सवाल ये है, इतने इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेजेस हैं भारत देश में, खासकर अगर हम महाराष्ट्र, कर्नाटक और आंध्र की बात अगर करें, कितने कॉलेजेस हैं और कितने प्रोफेशनल कॉलेजेस हैं मैनेजमेंट के, इंजीनियरिंग के, टेक्नोलॉजी के. दे हैव बीन ऑफरिंग, बट इट वाज नॉट लाइक दैट ओनली इंजीनियरिंग एंड टेक्नोलॉजी. दे आर सेइंग in general our education model, in general our education scenario. So by and large it was observed that we have to make the youth of our country more and more employable. यानी कि employability index को बढ़ाना, उसको उसकी संख्या को, उसके परसेंटेज को ऊपर लेके जाना, राइट. तो उसी पे आज हम बात करने वाला. एक रीजन ये था, दूसरा क्या है हम आगे जाके बात करेंगे. नाउ लेट मी प्रोसीड फर्दर. यस, some people perceive NEP as new education policy. Some people believe NEP as a national education policy. दोनों सही हैं. ये राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति इसलिए कि है क्योंकि पूरे राष्ट्र के लिए इसको लागू किया गया है, और नई शिक्षा नीति इसलिए क्योंकि नई है, न्यू है. इट इज रिलेटिवली न्यू कंसेप्ट, तो इसको न्यू भी कहना गलत नहीं होगा, राइट. तो NEP बेसिकली बात करती है एक ऐसे इकोसिस्टम पे, एक ऐसे कल्चर ऑफ एजुकेशन पे जो मेन स्ट्रीम लर्निंग मैकेनिज्म पे फोकस करता है. व्हाट इज मेन स्ट्रीम लर्निंग मैकेनिज्म? Anyone who can answer what is mainstream learning mechanism? Dr. Pawan or anyone maybe randomly आप कोई भी बोल सकते हैं. मे बी हमारे मैनेजमेंट के डॉक्टर बोरा है, बोल सकते हैं, वो बोल सकते हैं. मेन स्ट्रीम लर्निंग मैकेनिज्म सर क्या हो सकता है आपकी नजर में? You may try, you may be right, you may not be, because we are from engineering, technology and management. तो जनरली हमारे ध्यान में ये चीजें नहीं होती हैं, बट फिर भी अगर आप बता सके तो. सर यू मे प्लीज अनम्यूट योरसेल्फ. डॉक्टर बोरा.
यस
हाँ
सर,
जी
यस सर. हाँ
जी.
सर, मेन स्ट्रीम मतलब कन्वेंशनल एजुकेशन सिस्टम.
Yes, mainstream learning mechanism means you are right,
ट्रेडिशनल.
conventional education system, but mainstream learning mechanism means the formal process of education. यानी के encouraging our youth to join the process of learning in a formal manner. यानी के schools में, colleges में, universities में admission लेना, दाखिला लेना, रजिस्टर करवाना, अपने आप को एनरोल कराना, राइट, एडमिशन करवाना, ये सब चीजें हैं मेन स्ट्रीम लर्निंग मैकेनिज्म. अब इसके बारे में भी हम थोड़ी आगे जाके बात करेंगे. यही एक दूसरा रीजन है NEP को लॉन्च करने का, जिसको हम बोलते हैं ग्रॉस ओरिएंटेड रेशियो को बढ़ाना, GER. हालांकि GER हम फोकस करते हैं हायर एजुकेशन के लिए, बट इन जनरल अगर देखा जाए तो ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों को शिक्षा के साथ कैसे जोड़ा जाए, ये भी एक बहुत बड़ा उद्देश्य है. और किस तरह से जोड़ा जाए, क्या प्रावधान होने चाहिए अकेडमिशियंस को, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर्स को, जो अकेडमिक गवर्नर्स हैं या अकेडमिक सिस्टम के लोग हैं, उनको क्या क्या कदम उठाने हैं, कैसे प्रोसीड करना है, उसके ऊपर भी हम बात करेंगे. NEP talks about internationalization of education. NEP talks about globalization of education. NEP talks about universalization of education. It means it believes in the philosophy that everyone should be given the opportunity, everyone should be encouraged, everyone should be motivated to join the process of learning, irrespective of caste, color, creed, sex, ethnicity और geographical location. कहीं का भी हो, कहीं से भी हो. इसीलिए NEP बात करता है इंक्लूसिवनेस, इसीलिए NEP बात करता है डाइवर्सिटी की, राइट. तो ये सब फीचर्स है, ये सब प्रोविजन NEP के अंदर, राइट. तो यूनिवर्सलाइजेशन, ग्लोबलाइजेशन, इंटरनेशनलाइजेशन, यानी कि ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों को एजुकेशन के साथ कैसे अट्रैक्ट करे, कैसे जोड़े. इट मींस ये सब चीजें, बट एक बेसिक कंडीशन क्या है? इंटरेस्ट बेस्ड एजुकेशन, चॉइस बेस्ड एजुकेशन. यानी कि जिसमें आपकी रुचि है, जिसमें आपका इंटरेस्ट है, उसी में आप ज्वाइन करिए. आपके लिए ये प्रावधान है, ये प्रोविजन हमने रख दिया. और NEP बात करता है लर्निंग थ्रू नेटवर्किंग, ग्लोबल कनेक्टिविटी. क्यों? जो जिस युग में आज हम जी रहे हैं, 21st सेंचुरी में हम जी रहे हैं, जहां पे इंटरनेट का बहुत बड़ा महत्व है, और इंटरनेट ऐसा माध्यम है जिससे कम्युनिकेशन बहुत स्ट्रांग होती है, बहुत फास्ट होती है। एंड देन लर्निंग थ्रू नेटवर्किंग, यानी कि चाहे आप भारत से यहाँ जम्मू कश्मीर में बैठो, यहाँ से सीखिए, या नागपुर अमरावती से सीखिए, नासिक से महाराष्ट्र या कर्नाटका, पूरे देश में या फिर पूरे विश्व में कहीं से भी जुड़िए, कहीं से भी सीखिए। लर्निंग थ्रू नेटवर्किंग, लर्निंग थ्रू ग्लोबल कम्युनिटी। एंड अगेन इट टॉक्स अबाउट एमिटी, इट टॉक्स अबाउट ब्रदरहुड, इट टॉक्स अबाउट यूनिवर्सल ह्यूमन वैल्यूज, जो कि परकोलेट करनी चाहिए हर एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन में। हालांकि जो पिछली एजुकेशन पॉलिसी थी वो भी इसी पे बात करती थी, एमिटी पे, ब्रदरहुड पे, मगर एनईपी का फोकस है इंटरनेशनलाइजेशन, ग्लोबलाइजेशन, यूनिवर्सलाइजेशन, मेन स्ट्रीम लर्निंग मैकेनिज्म, इन सब चीजों के ऊपर। ओके, नाउ मूविंग अहेड नेक्स्ट, देन आई कम टू एक्चुअल part. This is what basically NEP is. That is what I'm going to decode now, because since I can see a large number of people are from engineering, technology, or management, so I hope you will be able to interpret. Can anyone tell me what is this structure called? Because I have used the same structure in my research work. So just for demonstration purpose, मैं यहाँ पे show कर रहा हूँ क्या हो सकता है structure, इसको क्या बोलते हैं? Anyone from mechanical or electrical or computer science or computer engineering? Anyone from mathematics?
State diagram.
डॉक्टर मनोज जी, जी बोलिए।
State diagram.
क्या बोला सर आपने, डॉक्टर मनोज, क्या बोला आपने?
State diagram.
नहीं, स्टेट डायग्राम तो नहीं आएगा इसका नाम। ओके,
ग्राफ,
यस, वेरी नाइस।
ग्राफ या ट्रांजिशन डायग्राम। ओके,
ग्राफ आपने ठीक बोला। डॉक्टर सोनाली निम्बलकर, व्हाट इज योर डिसिप्लिन मैडम सोनाली?
कंप्यूटर इंजीनियरिंग।
हाँ, यस, मैं इसलिए ढूंढ रहा था मैथमेटिक्स या मैकेनिकल या कंप्यूटर उनको मालूम होता है। सो दिस इज बेसिकली नोन एज समथिंग नोन एज योर ग्राफ और डाइग्राफ, जिसको डायरेक्टेड ग्राफ बोलते हैं या बाइपोलर ग्राफ भी बोल सकते हैं, राइट, और बाइनरी ग्राफ भी बोल सकते हैं। इट इज बेसिकली द ग्राफिकल रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ द रियल लाइफ सिनेरियो। ग्राफिकल रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ द रियल लाइफ सिनेरियो कैसे? Let us say 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5 6 are the subject areas or the disciplines. तो कैसे? Let us say मान लीजिए 1 is mathematics or maybe statistics, 2 is political science or economics or sociology, कुछ भी बोल लीजिए। 3 is let us say biotechnology or biochemistry or microbiology, ऐसा कह सकते हैं कुछ। 4 is आप मान लीजिए एग्रीकल्चर और फॉरेस्ट्री, ये मान लीजिए। 5 इज आप मान लीजिए म्यूजिक, डांस और मे बी पेंटिंग, ये मान लीजिए। एंड 6 इज लेट अस से आप कह सकते हैं 6 को 6 आप मान सकते हैं वेल्डिंग, 3D प्रिंटिंग, ऑटोमोबाइल टेक्नोलॉजी और मे बी पीसीबी फैब्रिकेशन, या कोई भी टेक्नोलॉजी का कोर्स, राइट, कोई भी टेक्नोलॉजी का कोर्स, विद ड्यू रिस्पेक्ट टू एवरी कोर्स। सो एक इस तरीके का स्ट्रक्चर, मैं फिर से रिपीट करता हूँ, हो सकता है इस बार सब्जेक्ट कुछ चेंज हो जाए। 1 is mathematics, 2 is sociology or maybe public administration, 3 is let us say biochemistry, microbiology, 4 is agriculture बोल लीजिए या forest बोल लीजिए, forestry, and 5 is painting or music or dance, and 6 is automobile engineering or 3D printing, welding, PCB fabrication or any technology based course. Now in real life scenario, how it works from learner's perspective, from student perspective, if 1 is connected to 2, 2 is connected to 6, 6 is connected to 3, 3 is connected to 5, 4 is connected to 1, and 2 is connected to 3, and 3 is connected to 6, and so on. It means everyone is connected to everyone. What does it mean in real life scenario? In real life scenario, it means a learner of political science, if interested to pursue a course in 3D printing or welding or music or forestry or public administration or statistics, कोई भी कुछ भी, so anyone can do anything or everyone can do everything. So don't you think it is a highly flexible education system? Instead of calling it as a new education policy, national education policy, I call NEP 2020 as a flexible education system. A system of education in which there exists no constraints, no boundaries, no barriers. It means anyone can do anything, everyone can do everything. कोई भी कुछ भी कर सकता है, और यही तो है हमारा ABC, Academic Bank of Credits. Yes or no? Ability enhancement course, value added course, skill enhancement course. That is how we proceed. Yes or no?
Yes,
Say
sir.
yes or no. है ना? हमारे कॉलेज और यूनिवर्सिटी में जो आजकल हम एबीसी ऑफर कर रहे हैं, तो एबीसी यही तो है, एबिलिटी एनहांसमेंट कोर्स, वैल्यू एडेड कोर्स, स्किल एनहांसमेंट कोर्स, यानी कि इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी, मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी, transdisciplinary. So all these things are there as a part of NEP 2020. So that is what basically NEP 2020 is. Now here lies my question. Here lies my question. This is I have explained NEP 2020. Now who will ensure the successful implementation of this model, that is ABC model? It is the academicians, it is academic leaders. तो academic leader में अभी इसके बाद अभी आ जाऊंगा, बट उसके पहले हम बात करेंगे कि ये मैंने एनईपी डिस्कस किया. अब मेरा एक सवाल है, डू यू थिंक दैट द ट्रेडिशनल सिस्टम ऑफ एजुकेशन was much more focused, structured and one track when we compare it with the NEP 2020? Traditional system is not the ancient system of education, but traditional system is the system of education through which we all had acquired education. Me as a resource person, you as a participant, or any individual of this country, हमारे भारत देश का कोई भी नागरिक who is of the age group of 20 or 21 plus, he or she is the outcome of traditional system of education. यानी कि जो एनईपी से पहले का सिस्टम था. So do you think that the traditional system of education was much more focused, structured and one track? Yes or no? Any participant who would like to answer? जी, मे बी डॉक्टर मनोज और मे बी डॉक्टर सोनाली और डॉक्टर अबे कोई भी बात कर सकते हैं. यस एनीवन? आपको लगता है?
वो
Yes,
नहीं
Dr.
था
Pawan.
Yes, sir.
Can you say how?
Because it is essential, sir, in NEP.
जी जी.
It is necessary points for NEP, sir. National Education
No,
Policy.
no, 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 no. At present, I have just come out of NEP. मैंने कहा कि जो हमारा पिछला सिस्टम था एजुकेशन का, जिसके थ्रू आप सब लोग पढ़ के आए हैं, मैं पढ़ के सीख के आया हूँ, आपको
Yes, sir.
लगता है कि वो एक फोकस, स्ट्रक्चर्ड और वन ट्रैक सिस्टम था लर्निंग का?
हाँ, लगता है
जब
सर.
जब एनईपी नहीं था तो?
Yes, it was one track system.
This is not updated or a type of.
No. The thing is, yes. Let me speak to Dr. Bora. Dr. Bora, आप मैनेजमेंट के हैं जी, आप बताएंगे
यस सर.
कुछ?
यस सर. वो सिस्टम तो ठीक था सर, बट वही उसका जो आउटकम हमने देखा ना कि ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी बच्चों की कम हो रही थी ना, तो दैट वाज अ
Right.
लिमिटेशन. और इट वाज मतलब इसमें जो ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम जो भी चेंजेस पूरे इकोसिस्टम में हुए थे, वो चेंजेस उसमें एडप्ट नहीं हो पाए, तो वो पुराने तरीके से ही चल रहा था.
ओके. तो इसीलिए बात वही आती है कि सर इट वाज रोट लर्निंग नॉट एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग. पहले रोट लर्निंग था, अब एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग
यस.
है. अगर आप ध्यान से देखें, अब आई एम वेरी फॉर्चुनेट टू हैव फैकल्टी ऑफ इंजीनियरिंग एंड टेक्नोलॉजी एंड मैनेजमेंट. आपको नहीं लगता कि फॉर प्रोग्राम्स ऑफ इंजीनियरिंग एंड टेक्नोलॉजी और मैनेजमेंट earlier also it was more towards interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, transdisciplinary? काफी फ्लेक्सिबिलिटीज पहले भी थी. हाँ,
उतनी नहीं थी सर.
अगर हम बात करें बाकी कोर्सेज की, तो इतनी ज्यादा नहीं थी. हाँ, हालांकि स्किल बेस्ड एजुकेशन में मैनेजमेंट वालों के लिए पहले स्किल बेस्ड एजुकेशन का एम्बिट नहीं था, ये वो है ना, सब चीजें नहीं थी. तो वो वी डू एग्री. नाउ थिंक ऑफ a situation. ओके, आई आस्क दिस वे. जैसे पहले मेरे को फर्स्ट पॉइंट कंप्लीट करेंगे. आपको लगता है कि पिछला सिस्टम जो है वन ट्रैक था, जैसे डॉक्टर सोनाली ने कहा, यस इट वाज ए वन ट्रैक जर्नी बिकॉज देयर वर नो फ्लेक्सिबिलिटीज, देयर वर नो मच ऑप्शंस. अगर मैं अपनी एकेडमिक जर्नी की बात करूं, आफ्टर पासिंग माय क्लास 10 एसएससी जिसको बोलते हैं, आई ऑप्टेड फॉर कोर्सेज ऑन फिजिक्स, केमिस्ट्री, मैथमेटिक्स एंड इंग्लिश 25-30 साल पहले, राइट? And then after passing class 12, I entered into a college of engineering, and I pursued 4 years of my study in Nagpur. So I became a mechanical engineer from Nagpur University, right? Okay. And then suppose मेरा further interest था मास्टर्स में, तो मैंने ME, MTech या MS आगे मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग में ही करी. और फिर मैं चाहता कि नहीं, मुझे रिसर्च का भी कुछ टेस्ट होना चाहिए, मेरा इंटरेस्ट है, तो मैंने पीएचडी प्रोग्राम किया, तो मैं डॉक्टरेट बन गया मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग में. सो आई वुड से इट वाज ए वन ट्रैक जर्नी. मेजॉरिटी ऑफ अस हैड ए वन ट्रैक जर्नी. यस और नो? क्योंकि ज्यादा फ्लेक्सिबिलिटीज थी नहीं. हम सब लोग तो सारे इंजीनियरिंग टेक्नोलॉजी के हैं, चाहे इलेक्ट्रिकल है, सिविल है, मैकेनिकल है, कंप्यूटर है, मोर और लेस ऐसा ही है ना सबका. BE, ME, MTech और MS और PhD ऐसे ही सब। सिमिलरली अगर नॉन इंजीनियरिंग वाले लोग होंगे तो BA, BSc, BCom, सिमिलरली MA, MSc, MCom, MPhil एंड देन PhD। सो मोर और लेस हमारा सबका, चाहे टेक्नोलॉजी वाले कोर्सेज के लोग हैं, प्रोफेशनल कोर्सेज वाले, या फार्मेसी या मैनेजमेंट या नॉन इंजीनियरिंग कोर्सेज के जो भी हैं, या अप्लाइड साइंसेज वाले, मोर और लेस it was one track and very less flexibilities were there. But NEP, as per this model, it provides us with a lot of flexibility. Yeah, the answer is yes. Now, can you think of a scenario? Maybe after this is 2026. Maybe after 2000, we can say maybe in 2040. आज से 15 साल के बाद, आज से 15 साल के बाद, can you think of a scenario in which, okay, before I complete this, let me ask this way. Can anyone tell me? I have talked about these subject areas. There may be other subject areas also, hundreds of subject areas. So many such combinations of ABC, Academic Bank of Credits, ability enhancement courses, value added courses, skill enhancement courses, जिसमें जो हमारा बच्चा या बच्ची है वो अपने कोर्स सेलेक्ट करेगा और अपनी बास्केट बनाएगा, डिजाइन करेगा. तो what are the subject areas which are still not under the ambit of NEP 2020? किसी को मालूम है? कोई बात करना चाहेगा? Or any speaker who has talked about this? What are the subject areas which are still not under the ambit of NEP 2020? If anyone can answer, Dr. Pawan or maybe Dr. Yogendra or maybe any Dr. Sonali or Dr. Abhay Bora, कोई भी randomly, जितने लोग attend कर रहे हैं program ये, we have around 55 plus. Okay, so these are जी बोलिए.
मेडिकल और लीगल.
Yes, medical and law. Yes, one is faculty of medicine and one another is faculty of law. So these are the two disciplines. These are two faculties which are still not under the ambit of NEP 2020. Now you think of a situation आज से 15 साल बाद, अभी 2026 है, 2040 मान लीजिए. ध्यान से सुनिए. A learner of pediatrics or a learner of orthopedics, if he or she is interested, if he or she is designing an automobile product, or he or she is डिजाइनिंग ए म्यूजिकल इंस्ट्रूमेंट, हो सकता है ना, कर सकते हैं. ऐसी भी कोई सिचुएशन आ सकती है, कोई नहीं जानता यस या नो, तो हम उसको नो नहीं कह सकते. वाई? अगर इस तरीके का फ्लेक्सिबल सिस्टम आज है तो ये फ्लेक्सिबल सिस्टम आगे भी हो सकता है. अपार्ट फ्रॉम प्रोफेसर के कस्तूरी रंगन, हु वर द अदर मेंबर्स ऑफ NEP 2020 ड्राफ्टिंग कमेटी? एनीवन हु नोस? You know or not? No. Have you heard about Professor TV Katimani? Have you heard about Professor Manjul Bhargav? Have you heard about Professor Vasudha Kamath? Have you heard about Professor Shakila T. Shamsu? Have you heard about Professor T. Katimani? Katimani I have talked about. Have you heard about Professor Ramashankar Kuril? Have you heard about Professor Mazhar Asif? इन सब लोगों के बारे में सुना आपने? नहीं. ये इनके बारे में सुनना जानना बहुत जरूरी है, क्योंकि इन लोगों ने मिलके ही NEP 2020 डॉक्यूमेंट बनाया, और ये एक होलिस्टिक डॉक्यूमेंट बनाया जो कि जिसमें 2 लाख से ज्यादा सजेशन इनके पास आए थे, जो कि स्टूडेंट्स ने, पेरेंट्स ने, पीपल फ्रॉम सिविल सोसाइटी, टीचिंग फ्रेटर्निटी सबने दिए थे. ओके, लेट मी प्रोसीड फर्दर. आई एम हैविंग लेस टाइम. ओके, ये कमेटी है. आप इसका स्क्रीनशॉट ले सकते हैं, मैं आपको बाद में दिखा दूंगा, आप ले लीजिए स्क्रीनशॉट. ये लोग थे जिन्होंने NEP 2020 कमेटी बनाई. प्रोफेसर मंजुल भार्गव जो हैं, ही इज ए रेसिपिएंट ऑफ फील्ड मेडल इन मैथमेटिक्स. He is from Jodhpur, Rajasthan. He is a field medal of mathematics, one of the highest award. He is at present he is in Princeton University. Earlier he was in Princeton University, USA. Now he is in Canada. उसी तरह से प्रोफेसर टीवी कतीमनी, ये फर्स्ट वाइस चांसलर थे ट्राइबल यूनिवर्सिटी के, तो अमरकंटक में इनका भी बहुत भूमिका रही है. पॉलिटिकल साइंस के प्रोफेसर हैं. इसी तरीके से प्रोफेसर मजहर आसिफ, ये नॉर्थ ईस्ट के हैं, लैंग्वेजेस डिपार्टमेंट से, डिसिप्लिन से बिलोंग करते हैं. जी.
Slide is not visible. Old slide is visible.
Just a minute. Slide is not visible. Oh my God.
नहीं, दिख रही सर. कमेटी ना, कमेटी दिख रही सर.
Visible sir. Committee for the draft national. Yes sir. Visible.
दिख रहा है ना? दिख रहा है ना?
Yes sir.
Okay, good. ये थे, तो ये कुछ लोग थे उसी तरीके से. और आई हैव लेस टाइम सो आई कैन एक्सप्लेन द एंटायर. आप इसका स्क्रीनशॉट ले लीजिए, अगर मेरे पास समय बचेगा लास्ट में हम इसको डिस्कस कर लेंगे. सो वेरी होलिस्टिक डॉक्यूमेंट. इसी तरीके मैं प्रोफेसर मजहर आसिफ के बारे में बता रहा था. ही इज फ्रॉम असम, गुवाहाटी. ही जॉइंड द स्कूल ऑफ लैंग्वेजेस, जवाहरलाल नेहरू यूनिवर्सिटी. ही इज बेसिकली फ्रॉम पर्शियन स्टडीज, राइट. and now he is the vice chancellor of Jamia Millia Islamia New Delhi. उसी तरीके से प्रोफेसर रामाशंकर कुरील, प्रोफेसर शकीलाटी शामसू, कृष्ण मोहन त्रिपाठी जी, M.K. श्रीधर, तो ये कुछ लोग थे, इनके बारे में आपको पता होना चाहिए, बिकॉज हाउ दे डिड ये जितनी होलिस्टिक एजुकेशन, मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी एजुकेशन, ट्रांस डिसिप्लिनरी एजुकेशन, स्किल बेस्ड एजुकेशन है ना, तो बेसिकली एनईपी में किया क्या गया है, एनईपी में यही किया गया है कि स्किल बेस्ड एजुकेशन हमें इंट्रोड्यूस करनी है अपने करिकुलम में, और यही तो हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी का कंसेप्ट है। तो क्या बोलते हैं वो, ये स्लाइड देख पा रहे हैं मोदी जी की?
यस सर।
अभी प्रधानमंत्री जी की स्लाइड देख पा रहे हैं? यस। तो प्रधानमंत्री हमारे जी का विजन है टू मेक दिस अ सेंचुरी ऑफ इंडिया. It is very important that the youth of India is equally proficient in education as well as skills. When it comes to skills, your mantra should be skilling, reskilling, upskilling. अब इंजीनियरिंग एंड टेक्नोलॉजी के लोग हैं, मेरे को उनके साथ स्किल की डिस्कस करने की जरूरत नहीं है, बिकॉज आई कैन वेल मेक आउट कि दे आर ऑलरेडी अवेयर ऑफ. सो आई विल नॉट टेक मच टाइम इन दिस स्लाइड टू एक्सप्लेन, है ना. स्किलिंग, रीस्किलिंग, अपस्किलिंग, सिर्फ अपस्किलिंग है. अपस्किलिंग क्या हो सकता है मुझे बताओगे कोई? व्हाट इज अपस्किलिंग? डॉक्टर पवन, Dr. Pawan, can you explain what is upskilling? I think he's busy somewhere. Okay. Anyone else? Dr. Sonali or Dr. Yogendra, what is upskilling? Can you explain?
We need to upgrade to the latest technology which is
Latest
there in the
technology,
market.
yes. Just like your Internet of Things, like your machine learning, big data analytics, right? Artificial intelligence, robotics, 3D printing, and all that, right? So these are all. Yes, Dr. Pawan, what is upskilling? What is upskilling? Dr. Pawan, what is upskilling? रोबोटिक्स, मैकाट्रॉनिक्स, है ना. बायोट्राइबोलॉजी, बायोमेडिकल सिस्टम्स, बहुत सारी नॉट ट्राइबोलॉजी, बायोट्राइबोलॉजी, जो हम आर्टिफिशियल लिम्स बनाते हैं, आर्टिफिशियल जॉइंट्स बनाते हैं, हिप रिप्लेसमेंट, नी रिप्लेसमेंट, तो इस तरीके की टेक्नोलॉजी, इस तरीके की पढ़ाई करना, ये सब चीजें करना अपस्किलिंग. साधारण भाषा में सोचा जाए, अब जैसे हमारे मैनेजमेंट के सर हैं, तो पहले हम क्या यूज करते थे? 2G, 3G, 4G टेक्नोलॉजी. अब क्या है? 5G टेक्नोलॉजी. 2029 या 30 में 6G टेक्नोलॉजी आ जाएगी, राइट? उसी तरीके से सिविल इंजीनियरिंग में टेक्नोलॉजीज एंड ऑल दैट. सो इट मींस अपग्रेडिंग योरसेल्व्स. तो प्रधानमंत्री जी का कंसेप्ट ये है कि टू मेक दिस अ सेंचुरी ऑफ इंडिया, यानी कि जो विकसित भारत की बात कर रहे हैं 2047, इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट द यूथ ऑफ इंडिया इज इक्वली प्रोफिशिएंट इन एजुकेशन एज वेल एज स्किल. उनका कहने का ये मतलब है कि आप किसी भी एजुकेशन मॉडल के साथ जुड़िए, मगर उसके साथ साथ आपके अंदर किसी ना किसी तरह का हुनर, किसी ना किसी तरह का स्किल आपके अंदर होना चाहिए. तो स्किल कुछ भी हो सकता है. तो व्हाट इज स्किल? Skill is any form of art. Though I need not discuss, you all feel you all are very welcome, comfortable with कि skill क्या होता है. Skill is any form of art. It may be designing a product or a component or a prototype, है ना? Or maybe writing a computer code or a programming is a skill. Solving a mathematical complex equation is a skill. Or maybe painting a wall is a skill. Designing any ship or building or wall or aircraft या automobile part, कोई भी gadget is a skill, है ना? Or maybe musical instrument skill, writing a sonnet is also a skill. So skill can have any form, skill can have many forms. So this is skill. Now here lies the role of academicians. कि जब हम academic leadership की बात करते हैं, academic managers की बात करते हैं, governance की बात करते हैं, कोई मुझे बताएगा academic leader कौन होता है? Who is an academic leader? Who is an academic leader?
Academic coordinator.
Academic coordinator?
Coordinates.
Okay, academic coordinator. और क्या आपका है? Since it's good that you are already from engineering colleges and management colleges, so most of things are already clear to you. Generally, people have a perception, especially the teaching community. They have a perception कि leader कौन होता है? Academic leader. Academic leader होता है principal of a college. Principal of a college. Answer is yes. Vice chancellor of a university. Answer is yes. Director of an institute. Answer is yes. But this yes is incomplete unless and until we completely define who is an academic leader. So every faculty member, irrespective of your designation, irrespective of your hierarchy, he or she is an academic leader. Do you agree or not?
Yes, actually.
Participant, do you agree or not?
एग्री सर।
अब इसको डिस्कस करने के लिए एक छोटी सी चीज पहले, जस्ट इसको डिस्कस करने के लिए एक छोटी सी हम डिस्कस करेंगे। इन जनरल एक लीडर के अंदर क्या क्या ट्रेड्स होने चाहिए, एक लीडर के अंदर क्या क्या ट्रेड्स होने चाहिए, और फिर हम एकेडमिक लीडरशिप के साथ उसको कनेक्ट करेंगे। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, दिस स्लाइड इज विजिबल टू यू, द लीडरशिप स्लाइड?
यस सर।
ओके। तो लीडर के अंदर क्या क्या ट्रेड्स होने चाहिए? सबसे पहला, ए लीडर मस्ट बी एग्जाम्पलरी, ही और शी मस्ट बी एग्जाम्पलरी, ही और शी मस्ट बी एन एग्जाम्पल फॉर अदर्स। उसके बाद, ए लीडर मस्ट बी विजनरी, ए लीडर मस्ट बी विजनरी, ही और शी मस्ट हैव विजन, राइट? उसके बाद, ए लीडर मस्ट बी ए डिसीजन मेकर, ए लीडर मस्ट बी डिसीजन मेकर, इट मींस ही और शी मस्ट टेक डिसीजंस। बहुत बार ऐसा होता है, एक व्यक्ति, एक लीडर डिसीजन ही नहीं ले पाता। हम देखते हैं अपने समाज में, अपनी सोसाइटी में देखते हैं, वो डिसीजन ले ही नहीं पाता। सो द आउटकम ऑफ दैट डिसीजन, इट मे बी पॉजिटिव, इट मे बी नेगेटिव, it may be negative, but the thing is they are not able to take decision. So one must have the competence to take decisions. A leader must be team builder, यानी कि सबको साथ लेके चले, एक टीम बना के चले। A leader must have the risk taking capability. बहुत सारे लोग क्या करते हैं, डिसीजन नहीं ले पाते। क्यों? क्योंकि वो रिस्क भी नहीं ले सकते। तो कई बार ऐसी सिचुएशंस आती हैं, आपको रिस्क लेना पड़ता है, राइट? अभी हम इसको सबको एकेडमिक्स के साथ कनेक्ट करेंगे। सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट मेरी नजर में सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट क्या है एक लीडर के लिए? ए लीडर मस्ट हैव द एलिमेंट ऑफ एम्पैथी। डू यू एग्री और नॉट? जब तक उसके अंदर एलिमेंट ऑफ एम्पैथी नहीं होगा, ही और शी कैनॉट बी गुड लीडर, ही और शी कैनॉट बी गुड लीडर। ए लीडर मस्ट मोटिवेट, ए लीडर मस्ट इंस्पायर। तो मेरी नजर में ये कुछ ट्रेड्स हैं जो एक लीडर के अंदर होने चाहिए। तो इसको ध्यान में रखते हुए मैंने महात्मा गांधी जी का चित्र लगाया है यहाँ पे, अडोल्फ हिटलर का लगाया है, नेल्सन मंडेला का लगाया है, और एक श्रीमद् भागवत में से एक मैंने चित्र लिया है जिसमें श्री कृष्ण और श्री अर्जुन के बीच में संवाद चल रहा है। तो ये अपने अपने युग में, अपने अपने समय में, अपने अपनी सोसाइटी में, अपने माशरे में, अपने अपने एरा में ये लीडर साबित हुए हैं, एंड वी ऑल एडमिट यस दे वर, राइट? नाउ, तो लीडरशिप में चाहिए क्या? लीडरशिप में चाहिए मोटिवेशन, लीडरशिप में चाहिए कॉम्पिटेंस, लीडरशिप में चाहिए ट्रांसपेरेंसी, लीडरशिप में चाहिए अकाउंटेबिलिटी, लीडरशिप में चाहिए स्किल्स, लीडरशिप में चाहिए सपोर्ट, लीडरशिप में चाहिए पावर, लीडरशिप में चाहिए टीम, और लीडरशिप में चाहिए रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, कम्युनिकेशन, ट्रांसपेरेंसी, अकाउंटेबिलिटी। तो ये हम जब जिसके पास होगा तो उसको हम बोलते हैं वो लीडर है। आपको नहीं लगता कि किसी भी एकेडमिक एनवायरनमेंट में, आपको नहीं लगता किसी भी एकेडमिक एनवायरनमेंट में ये सब चीजें अनिवार्य हैं और ये होती हैं? और इसीलिए हर फैकल्टी मेंबर, हर टीचर किसी ना किसी रूप में ये सारे रोल निभा रहा है, ये सारे रोल किसी ना किसी रूप में वो इन्वॉल्व है। रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, स्किल्स, मोटिवेशन। क्यों? बिकॉज आवर रोल इज नॉट ओनली द टीचिंग लर्निंग प्रोसेस। अगर हमारा रोल सिर्फ टीचिंग लर्निंग प्रोसेस होगा तो फिर तो बहुत इजी काम है, but our role is beyond teaching learning process. That is why NEP 2020 talks about mentorship. It does not believe in the concept of faculty, it says mentorship. So what is mentorship? Our role beyond academics. तो कैसे? उनकी ट्रेनिंग में, उनकी इंटर्नशिप में, इन सब चीजों में। डू यू एग्री और नॉट?
Yes,
Participants, do you
sir.
agree or not? Okay, good. So now let me now move to the actual slide which we'll be discussing. Yes, this is the most important slide from academic leadership point of view. हम बात करते हैं कि एक लीडर के अंदर ये ट्रेड्स होने चाहिए। अब we as academicians, depending upon the hierarchy, depending upon your competence, and also depending upon your involvement in the institutional affairs, कॉलेज में, यूनिवर्सिटी में, डिपार्टमेंट में, जैसे भी आपका होगा, हमारा रोल बियॉन्ड एकेडमिक्स बहुत ज्यादा है। कैसे? हम एकेडमिक अफेयर्स डिस्कस करते हैं, हम रिसर्च डिस्कस करते हैं, हम कोर्स करिकुलम डिस्कस करते हैं। तो जब डिस्कस करते हैं, ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग होती है, जब ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग होती है उसमें डिसीजन मेकिंग पे फिर आप आते हो, यस और नो? हम आते हैं, यस,
Yes.
हम डिसीजन मेकिंग में आते हैं, राइट? उसके बाद हम अपने अपने सुझाव देते हैं, इनपुट देते हैं, एकेडमिक्स में इन्वॉल्व होते हैं। अब सपोज अभी जैसे मैंने सुना 2-3 दिन पहले, शायद 2 दिन पहले, कि मुझे सुनने में आया कि विदर्भ जो हमारा इलाका है या महाराष्ट्र के कुछ एरिया में बहुत भारी बारिश आ गई, तो शायद फ्लड वाली सिचुएशन आ जाए, ऐसा कुछ हुआ मुझे सुनने में आया। वॉज इट देयर? बहुत ज्यादा बारिश चाहिए 2 दिन पहले? नो, मे बी फ्यू डेज बैक आई हैव हर्ड इन रेडियो on radio or some news I was listening to, तो महाराष्ट्र और उड़ीसा के कुछ इलाकों में बताया गया कि काफी तेज बरसात आने की वो चेतावनी दी गई है। तो सारा ये
आसाम में
ओके।
सर, आसाम।
नहीं, आसाम तो है, महाराष्ट्र का भी मैंने सुना है, महाराष्ट्र का भी मैंने सुना है। मे बी 2 दिन
यस सर,
या
लास्ट
4 दिन
वीक,
पहले,
लास्ट वीक।
लास्ट वीक, हाँ लास्ट
यस
वीक हुआ होगा, वही बात है। ओके, तो बात ये चल रही है अब, academicians risk taking capability, academicians empathy, academicians decision making कैसे? Let us say I am giving you 2 scenarios. What are 2 scenarios? The 2 scenarios are suppose बहुत तेज बारिश है, बहुत तेज बरसात है और काफी भारी बारिश आने का अनुमान है, और लेट अस से कि एवरी अरेंजमेंट हैज बीन मेड और आपके शेड्यूल्ड एग्जामिनेशन जो है, जो प्लान था वो एज पर प्लान आप कर रहे हैं, बट मौसम विभाग ने चेतावनी दी है कि आप अपना एग्जाम कंडक्ट नहीं, मतलब आप बहुत तेज बारिश आएगी तो आप अकॉर्डिंगली एक्ट कीजिए। नो, एज academicians in that situation we have to use not our academic acumen but also our administrative acumen, because safety and security of students, safety and security of staff, safety and security of all stakeholders, it may be your teaching staff, non teaching staff, support staff, तो उनकी safety security के बारे में ध्यान रखना। क्यों? वो किस जगह से कॉलेज या यूनिवर्सिटी में आते हैं, उसका एरिया का एक्सेस कैसा है, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन सिस्टम कैसा है, कनेक्टिविटी कैसी है, रास्ता कैसा है, टेरेन कैसा है, ये सब चीजें आपको सोचनी पड़ती हैं। तो इसलिए बहुत सारी चीजों का ध्यान रखते हुए ऐसा होता है that sometime you have to take decision keeping in view the ground situation. Yes or no?
Yes.
So in that situation, what will happen? In that situation, what will happen? Suppose you have your university exam scheduled as per the date sheet or the calendar, but due to this reason, now how you will act in that situation? How you will act? All the examination material mean non-sensitive material has been distributed, superintendents and roll numbers have been given, all examination arrangements have been made, right? So you are just waiting for tomorrow for exam to be conducted and then it's over, right? तो आप कैसे act करेंगे? How you will handle that situation? Because here lies not only your academic acumen, but here lies your administrative acumen also. तो एकेडमिक लीडरशिप में, एकेडमिक मैनेजमेंट में और गवर्नेंस में ये सब चीजें आती हैं, एंड विद हायरार्की आप ये सब चीजें सीखते हैं। सो हाउ यू विल डील विद दैट सिचुएशन? डॉक्टर अबे, आप कैसे डील करेंगे? हाउ यू विल डील विद दैट सिचुएशन?
We will reschedule the examination, sir,
Yes,
and we will
yes.
convey to the all the stakeholders
One
about.
of the most wise approach I would say is this only, to defer the exam maybe for day or two, 1 या 2 दिन के लिए, ताकि जब तक वो, राइट, दिस इज वन ऑफ द अप्रोच। एक और सिचुएशन आपको दे रहा हूँ। सपोज आपका रेजिडेंशियल कैंपस है, उधर हॉस्टल है, और आपके कॉलेज में कोई प्रतियोगिता हुई या फिर कोई स्पोर्ट्स एक्टिविटीज हुई या कोई कंपटीशन हुए, तो उस प्रतियोगिता में फिर आपकी अवार्ड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन हुई, आपने प्राइजेस वगैरह दिए, तो क्या हो गया कि जो उसका आउटकम आया, जो उसका रिजल्ट आया, what happened that majority of the students, they were not satisfied with the result or the outcome, and they were feeling that something has gone wrong, and some biasness has been done, or some favor has been given to some set of teams or groups or some group of students. So what happened? There is a culture of there is an environment of resentment among students. हो गया, ठीक है। तो उसके बाद क्या हो गया that there was a scuffle among there was heated arguments and which led to scuffle like situation among a group of students, maybe 2 or 3 group of students. तो कॉलेज में या यूनिवर्सिटी में क्या हो गया? लड़ाई झगड़ा हो गया। जब लड़ाई झगड़ा हो गया, उन्होंने क्या कर दिया? दे स्टार्टेड रैंसैकिंग द प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ द इंस्टीट्यूट। और फिर क्या किया उन्होंने? जब उनको लगा सिचुएशन बहुत खराब हो गई है, तो इन दैट सिचुएशन हाउ द academicians will behave, how the academicians will act. So again here lies your administrative acumen या मैनेजमेंट, जिसको हम बोलते हैं टू मैनेजमेंट टैक्टफुली, जो फिलिप कोटलर जी बोलते थे, यही बोलते थे ना सर, टू मैनेजमेंट टैक्टफुली। मैनेजमेंट इज टू मैनेजमेंट टैक्टफुली। सो नाउ हाउ टू डील विद दिस सिचुएशन? डॉक्टर पवन, डॉक्टर सोनाली, और मे बी एनीवन, हाउ टू डील विद दैट सिचुएशन? विल यू कॉल पुलिस? विल यू कॉल पुलिस?
सर पहले तो उनसे बात करके उनको
हाँ
फर्स्टली
डॉक्टर
डिस्कशन कर लेंगे सर।
हाँ डॉक्टर योगेंद्र यादव, तो इसको हम बोलते हैं कंफ्लिक्ट रेजोल्यूशन, इसको हम बोलते हैं कंफ्लिक्ट रेजोल्यूशन, राइट। तो सबसे पहली अप्रोच हमारी क्या रहेगी कि हम डायलॉग में जाएं उनके साथ, हम बातचीत करें, हम डिस्कशन करें। तो हम क्या करेंगे, एक कमेटी बना देंगे, कमेटी ऑफ सम लर्नड पीपल, मे बी सम सीनियर फैकल्टी मेंबर्स, मे बी सम नॉन टीचिंग स्टाफ, और एंड मे बी 1 or 2 रिप्रेजेंटेटिव फ्रॉम द स्टूडेंट कम्युनिटी ऑल्सो। जनरली हम ऐसे ही एक्ट करते हैं कॉलेज या यूनिवर्सिटीज में, राइट। कमेटीज बना देंगे, वो कमेटी फिर आपकी क्या करेगी, डिस्कशन करेगी, वो कमेटी आपकी डिस्कशन करेगी, उसके बाद वो हम कंफ्लिक्ट रेजोल्यूशन में जाएंगे, क्योंकि सबसे पहला काम है अपने माहौल को शांत करना, शांति लाना। We are not deputy commissioners, we are not district magistrates, we are not सब डिविजनल मैजिस्ट्रेट, या वी आर नॉट पुलिस कि हम डंडा चलाएंगे। नो, दे आर स्टूडेंट्स, वो हमारे बच्चे बच्चियां हैं, राइट। वो हमारे इंस्टीट्यूट का एसेट हैं, उनका हमारे इंस्टीट्यूट का नाम उनसे रोशन होगा, हमारी जिम्मेदारी है। तो कंफ्लिक्ट रेजोल्यूशन पे जाएंगे। तो ये क्या है आपका एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एक्यूमेन, ये सब आपका क्या है एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एक्यूमेन। तो इस तरीके से डिसीजन मेकिंग चलती है, इस तरीके के रिस्क टेकिंग कैपेबिलिटी चलती है, इस तरीके से एम्पैथी चलती है, मोटिवेशन एंड ऑल दैट। नाउ आई एम कमिंग टू दैट स्लाइड, जस्ट सेकंड, जस्ट a second. Okay, so key drivers of academics. When we talk about when we talk about the when we talk about the institutional growth, when we talk about the institutional development, when we talk about the progress of the institute, or upgradation of the institute, so there are some drivers known as key drivers of academics. I hope this slide is visible to you. Yes or no? Key drivers of academics.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So what are those? These are your resource availability, number 1. Number 2 is talented manforce. Number 3 is culture. Number 4 is governance. And number 5 I have put etc. Now I'll discuss these one by one. Resource availability. So what comes under resource availability? It includes your physical infrastructure. It includes your buildings, your classrooms, your examination hall, your lecture theater, your seminar room, your conference room, your laboratories, your libraries. Then you have your instrumentation center, you have your computer center, you have your software lab, or any specialized setup lab, or maybe any center of excellence which your college has, right? So then it also includes your auditorium, it also includes your health station, or maybe medical support system. It also includes your what you call the theater club, or maybe recreational facilities, or something like a drama club, या जो भी infrastructure आपके पास है, या sports infrastructure, ये सब चीजें. Or it may be your design studio, it may be your what you call your modeling lab, या कुछ भी आप कह लीजिए, या soft making lab and all that. So any form of physical infrastructure which is there at a part of your institution, depending upon the type of courses, the nature of programs that you are running. तो वो एक आर्ट्स कॉलेज के लिए अलग होगा, साइंस कॉलेज के लिए अलग होगा, कॉमर्स कॉलेज के लिए अलग होगा, मैनेजमेंट के लिए अलग होगा, इंजीनियरिंग एंड टेक्नोलॉजी तो हम सबको मालूम ही है हमारे लिए अलग होगा, क्योंकि हमारे में लैब्स की भूमिका ज्यादा होती है इंजीनियरिंग एंड टेक्नोलॉजी में, उसके लिए अलग होगा, फार्मेसी है उसके लिए अलग होगा. तो रिसोर्स अवेलेबिलिटी बाय एंड लार्ज इट इज द फिजिकल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. नेक्स्ट इज talented man force. When we say talented man force, it has two subcomponents. What are those? The first component is quality of the admitted students. The first component of talented man force, quality of the admitted students, and number 2 is credentials of the faculty. Now, quality of admitted students. When we say quality of admitted student, it means the process through which the students are admitted or the students are selected into a particular college or a university or an institution. It means whether they are admitted on the basis of all India examination, like your NEET examination, or maybe CUET examination conducted by NTA, or maybe for engineering and technology it is JEE examination, और मे बी फॉर मैनेजमेंट कैट मैड, और इसी तरीके से किस तरीके के एग्जामिनेशन से आप आते हो, या फिर इट इज ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ ऑल इंडिया मेरिट, और इट इज ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द रीजनल लेवल टेस्ट, और इट इज ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ स्टेट लेवल टेस्ट, और इट इज ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द परसेंटेज ऑफ मार्क्स इन द प्रीसीडिंग एग्जामिनेशन. यानी कि अगर यूजी में एडमिशन लेना तो 12वीं क्लास के नंबर, और अगर पीजी में एडमिशन लेना तो यूजी या ग्रेजुएशन के मार्क्स या परसेंटेज उस पे, और it is on the basis of institutions own entrance examination or test. So बहुत सारे इंस्टीट्यूशन अपना एग्जाम भी कंडक्ट करते हैं, अपना एंट्रेंस टेस्ट भी कंडक्ट करते हैं. तो यानी कि फिल्ट्रेशन प्रोसेस जिसके थ्रू स्टूडेंट आपके इंस्टीट्यूट में एडमिट होता है, सिलेक्ट होता है. Now, why I have used the word quality of admitted students? It means it is because of the fact that the quality of the admitted students greatly impacts or influences the ranking of your institution, the overall perception of your institution, the image of your institution, maybe within the state, city, at the national level, or maybe at the international level. Do you agree or not? पार्टिसिपेंट, डू यू एग्री और नॉट कि जिस तरीके का स्टूडेंट आपके वहां आएगा, आपकी रैंकिंग, क्योंकि आपकी जो हम रैंकिंग करते हैं, NIRF रैंकिंग, नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशनल रैंकिंग फ्रेमवर्क, वो क्या है? NIRF रैंकिंग है, QS रैंकिंग है, टाइम्स हायर रैंकिंग है, वर्ल्ड यूनिवर्सिटी रैंकिंग है. तो जितनी रैंकिंग है उसके लिए सबसे बड़ा पैरामीटर क्या है? टीचर ही तो है, फिजिकल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर तो है, नो डाउट, बट उसके पहले स्टूडेंट ही तो है सबसे बड़ा पैरामीटर कि कैसे स्टूडेंट आपका आता है. व्हाई? बिकॉज if you talk about NIRF ranking, जैसे IIT Madras है, let us say NIRF ranking top notch institute है, right? So the quality of students means whenever these students like IITs, especially IITs की अगर हम बात करें, why IITs are famous for? It is famous not only because of faculty, it is not only famous because of the physical infrastructure, but it is famous primarily because of the quality of the students. Why?
Quality students.
Because not only quality education, but the quality of the students.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I am sure there are many institutions throughout the country who may be imparting very much better quality education to the students. But the thing is, what is the quality of the entry level students? वो बहुत मैटर करता है.
Yeah.
वो बहुत मैटर करता है. इसीलिए जो IIT में है, कितने रिगरस प्रोसेस से बच्चे बच्चियां सिलेक्ट होते हैं, JEE मेंस एंड JEE एडवांस्ड एंड ऑल दैट, राइट? एंड व्हेन दे लीव द इंस्टीट्यूशन, then see how they are excelling, how they are bringing fame and glory to the not only to themselves, to their parents, but to the society, to the country they are representing. तो इसलिए क्वालिटी ऑफ एडमिटेड स्टूडेंट बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है, बहुत ज्यादा मैटर करता है, जो अकेडमिशियंस को सोचना है. इसीलिए अपने इंस्टीट्यूशन हमें कैसे बनाने हैं, किस दिशा में लेके जाना है, इन चीजों के ऊपर बात करनी है. मेरे पास समय कम है, मैं कोशिश करूंगा इसको जल्दी खत्म करने का, इस स्लाइड को. ओके, नेक्स्ट इज क्रेडेंशियल ऑफ द फैकल्टी. व्हेन वी से क्रेडेंशियल ऑफ फैकल्टी, इट मींस not the qualification of the faculty, not the research potential of the faculty, but the willingness of the faculty to undertake courses which are enshrined as per NEP 2020 model or framework. Because जो हमारा स्टूडेंट है, जो लर्नर है, बच्चा या बच्ची है, वो तो कोई भी सब्जेक्ट कॉम्बिनेशन बोलेगा, ABCXYZ 1 2 3, कोई भी परमुटेशन कॉम्बिनेशन और अपनी एकेडमिक बैंक ऑफ क्रेडिट बना के दे देगा. बट द थिंग इज, ये इंस्टीट्यूशंस को सोचना है कि क्या हमारे पास वो एक्सपर्टीज अवेलेबल है कि हम वो उसको डिलीवर कर सके या नहीं कर सके. एंड दैट इज व्हाई many of the institutions in the country are struggling to have the expertise available in terms of the courses floated under NEP 2020. Do you agree or not? Participant, do you agree or not? तो ये एक बहुत बड़ा कंस्ट्रेंट है NEP 2020 की इंप्लीमेंटेशन में. ये एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है इंस्टीट्यूशंस के लिए. हालांकि पीपल आर डेवलपिंग दिस स्किल्स, बट इट विल टेक टाइम. नेक्स्ट इज कल्चर. जब हम कल्चर की बात करते हैं, मींस एक ऐसा इकोसिस्टम जो ये सुनिश्चित करेगा कि ये जो टैलेंटेड मैन फोर्स, यानी कि दीज मैन एंड वुमेन, दे प्रॉपर्ली सिंक्रोनाइज और मैप विद द रिसोर्सेज ऑफ द इंस्टीट्यूट. तो आपने कंसेप्ट सुना है, एक 4C कंसेप्ट, द कंसेप्ट ऑफ 4Cs. हैव यू हर्ड अबाउट द कंसेप्ट ऑफ 4Cs? Have you heard about the concept of 4Cs? Just a minute. The element of creativity, the element of critical thinking, the element of collaboration, and element of communication. सुना आपने ये? Adult Tinkering Labs. Have you heard about Adult Tinkering Labs? मुझे लगता है इंजीनियरिंग टेक्नोलॉजी के इंस्टीट्यूट्स को तो मालूम होगा अडल्ट टिंकरिंग लैब्स. द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया इज ट्राइंग टू स्ट्रेंथन द इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर in colleges, in universities, and also in schools in the rural areas, in the far-flung areas, so that more and more people can join the process of learning and they can develop the element of creativity, not at a time of joining, but at a time of the end of the program. They can be good creative learners, they may be good critical thinkers, they must have the element of communication, and they must collaborate with the outside world. है ना, वो छोटी छोटी गैजेट्स के ऊपर काम करना, तो उसको असेंबल करना, उसको डिसअसेंबल करना, फिर उसके अंदर देखना क्या क्या मटेरियल है, किस मटेरियल का बना है, किस मैन्युफैक्चरिंग प्रोसेस का बना है, छोटी छोटी गैजेट्स, जस्ट लाइक योर हैंड, just like your hand blender, I would say. It may be your hand blender, it may be your what you call, uh, it may be your hand blender, it may be your it may be hand blender, it may be mobile phone, it may be juicer, mixer, grinder. तो उसको डिसमेंटल करते हैं, वो खोलते हैं. इट मे बी इंडक्शन प्लेट, इट मे बी इलेक्ट्रिक शेवर, इट मे बी लिंट रिमूवर, और इट मे बी इलेक्ट्रिक आयरन, वो जो जिससे हम कपड़े प्रेस करते हैं. तो उसको खोलना, डिसमेंटल करना, फिर उसके अंदर देखना कौन कौन से पार्ट्स हैं, उन पार्ट्स को स्टडी करना, उनके वो किस मैन्युफैक्चरिंग प्रोसेस के थ्रू बने हैं उसको स्टडी करना, किस मटेरियल के थ्रू बने हैं उसको करना, और किस साइंटिफिक प्रिंसिपल के ऊपर काम करते हैं. तो इन इन 4C को सुनिश्चित करना एक कैंडिडेट के अंदर, वो कैसे होगा, अकेडमिशियंस ही करेंगे. और उसके बाद गवर्नेंस मींस अगेन दिस एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव कंट्रोल, मैनेजमेंट एंड गवर्नेंस. तो वो कैसे आएगा, वो कैसे आएगा, इट मींस there must be someone who will ensure that whatever is being enshrined, कि जो एबीसी के अंदर बच्चा बच्ची मांग रहा है, या जो एनईपी 2020 के अंदर है, क्या हम उसको डिलीवर कर पा रहे हैं कि नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, क्या क्या चैलेंजेस हैं, क्या क्या इश्यूज हैं. इसीलिए सपोज if a student opt for courses on maybe as per the ABC, ability enhancement, value added skill enhancement, and suppose the expertise is not available in that particular college or university, so what is the way out, what is the way out? हम स्टूडेंट को ये तो नहीं कह सकते कि नो यू कैन नॉट टेक दिस कोर्स. व्हाट इज द वे आउट? एनी पार्टिसिपेंट हु कैन आंसर व्हाट इज द वे आउट? या डॉक्टर योगेंद्र यादव आप आंसर करेंगे?
सर
व्हाट इज द वे
हम
आउट?
उनको मोटिवेट कर सकते हैं कि हम प्रोवाइड करेंगे, बट उनको मना तो नहीं कर सकते.
हाँ, मगर उसका सबसे बेस्ट वे है कि जो कंसेप्ट ऑफ डिजिटल लर्निंग है, यानी कि लर्निंग थ्रू ओपन ऑनलाइन कोर्सेज लाइक योर मूव्स, मैसिव ओपन ऑनलाइन कोर्स कर लीजिए, स्वयं एनपीटीएल कर लीजिए, कोर्स है,
डिफरेंट
आईडीएस,
डिफरेंट
है ना,
ऑनलाइन
क्योंकि
सोर्सेस.
हाँ, क्योंकि वो जो क्रेडिट ट्रांसफर स्कीम है, तो ये सब चीजें किसको सोचनी है, ये एकेडमिक प्लानिंग के अंदर आती हैं. तो यानी कि
या
एक आप अपना ऐसा स्ट्रेटेजिक रोड मैप बनाओगे, एक देखोगे एकेडमिक प्लानिंग के अंदर कि कौन कौन से कोर्सेज आपको फ्लोट करने हैं, कौन कौन से
यस
फिजिकल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर चाहिए, फैकल्टी एक्सपर्टीज आपको कैसी चाहिए, और रिसोर्सेज कौन से चाहिए, अपॉइंटमेंट ऑफ फैकल्टी मेंबर्स, रिक्रूट प्रमोशंस ऑफ फैकल्टी मेंबर, राइट, देन योर नॉन
यस
टीचिंग स्टाफ, other form of resources like your research resources and all that. So many things are there which can be part of this. Next is etc. Why I have put etc? I could have put anything else also. Why I have put etc? Because let us discuss now what can be there in this etc. क्यों हमने फिजिकल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की बात करी, क्लासरूम, बिल्डिंग्स, लेबोरेटरीज, लाइब्रेरीज, इंस्ट्रूमेंटेशन सेंटर, इंटरनेट, और भी ऑडिटोरियम, सेमिनार रूम, स्पोर्ट्स इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, हेल्थ, जिम्नेजियम, और भी जो जो कुछ हो सकता है हमने सब कर लिया. हमने टैलेंटेड मैन फोर्स की बात करी, यानी कि क्वालिटी ऑफ एडमिटेड स्टूडेंट्स, फैकल्टी एक्सपर्टीज, अवेलेबिलिटी, उसकी बात कर ली. कल्चर की बात कर ली, यानी कि 4C कंसेप्ट की बात कर ली, ताकि ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों को इसके साथ जोड़ेंगे. हमने ये इसी की बात करी, गवर्नेंस की, जो इंश्योर करेगा, यानी कि आपके एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर्स, आपके एकेडमिशियंस इसको इंश्योर करेंगे. और उसके बाद हम बात करें एसेट्रा. इस एसेट्रा में क्या आ सकता है, कोई मुझे बताएगा? व्हाट कैन बी देयर इन दिस एसेट्रा? व्हाट कैन बी देयर इन दिस एसेट्रा? I have very less time now. What can be there in this etc? Can we say support of non-teaching staff? Yes. Can we say role of participation of industry or participation of civil society? Yes. Can we say stakeholder? Yes. इसके अलावा सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज जो एनईपी 2020 ने रिकमेंड की है, वो की है एसेट्रा में, इसीलिए मैंने एसेट्रा लिखा है, अदरवाइज मैं सीधा भी लिख सकता था. वो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट एलिमेंट है अपॉइंटमेंट ऑफ प्रोफेसर्स ऑफ प्रैक्टिस. So, you know what is the professor of practice, participants? I believe that since you all belong to management or engineering and technology institute, so मुझे लगता है कि सबको मालूम होगा professor of practice. I did not discuss. Yes or no? Or
Yeah.
should I discuss? Should I discuss
No,
or
sir.
not?
No.
Should I discuss or not? Please let me know.
No, sir. No.
हाँ ना, I believe आपको मालूम होगा. क्यों?
Yeah.
क्योंकि प्रोफेसर ऑफ प्रैक्टिस उन्होंने ये रियलाइज किया, जो एनईपी 2020 ड्राफ्टिंग कमेटी थी, कि नो डाउट वी हैव बोर्ड ऑफ स्टडीज, वी हैव एकेडमिक अफेयर कमेटी, वी हैव एकेडमिक काउंसिल और सिंडिकेट और सेनेट और एग्जीक्यूटिव काउंसिल, जो जो भी आपकी बॉडीज होती हैं आपके कॉलेज की या यूनिवर्सिटी की, तो वहां पे एक्सपर्ट्स होते हैं, सब्जेक्ट एक्सपर्ट्स होते हैं, उसके बाद इंडस्ट्री के लोग होते हैं. मगर उसके उसके बावजूद जो है, बच्चे बच्चियों को रोजगार नहीं मिल पा रहा, तो कहीं ना कहीं गैप तो है. इट मीन्स क्या हमारे पढ़ाने में गैप है? नहीं, पढ़ाने में गैप तो नहीं है, मगर जो स्किल सेट हमें चाहिए, जिस तरीके से हमें उनको सिखाना है, शायद वो हम नहीं कर पा रहे हैं। तो उसको ध्यान में रखते हुए उन्होंने बोला हम प्रोफेसर ऑफ प्रैक्टिस अपॉइंट करेंगे। तो प्रोफेसर ऑफ प्रैक्टिस का एक स्पेशल प्रोविजन रखा गया कॉलेजेस और यूनिवर्सिटीज में। ये सब चीजें किनको प्लान करना है? ये प्लान करना है आपके एकेडमिक प्लानिंग में, ये आपका आएगा एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में, ये आपका आएगा मैनेजमेंट में, कि आपका गवर्निंग मैकेनिज्म कैसा होना चाहिए, आपको किस तरह के लोग प्रोफेसर ऑफ प्रैक्टिस चाहिए। फॉर मैनेजमेंट इट मे बी डिफरेंट, फॉर इंजीनियरिंग एंड टेक्नोलॉजी इट मे बी डिफरेंट, फॉर आर्ट्स कॉलेज इट मे बी डिफरेंट, फॉर फार्मेसी इट मे बी डिफरेंट। तो जनरली एक यूनिवर्सिटी में या कॉलेज में जो प्रोफेसर ऑफ प्रैक्टिस होते हैं, they may not be subject specific, they may not be department specific, so they are called the central professors। central means पूरे इंस्टीट्यूट के लिए उनको कोई भी उनको एंगेज कर सकता है, राइट। सो मैनी सच एग्जांपल्स आर देयर, जैसे he or she may be from civil society, he or she may be from industry, he or she may be from railways, he or she may be from defense services, he or she may be from police। तो मेरे पास कुछ एग्जांपल्स हैं, जैसे मुझे अभी बताया गया कि जस्ट 15-20 days back one IPS officer, he has been appointed as a professor of practice for some northeastern college, for some northeastern college। one person has been appointed as a professor of practice। I don't know with what consideration he has been appointed as professor of practice, but yes, he has been appointed। इसी तरीके से for IIT Bombay, I met one individual last year, मैं पुणे में मिला था उनसे। he has been appointed as professor of practice in IIT Mumbai। उनका नाम है धीमंत व्यास। धीमंत व्यास, हालांकि टेक्नोलॉजी का इंस्टीट्यूट है, मगर धीमंत व्यास, तो धीमंत व्यास क्या है? वो फ्रेम्स बनाते हैं, मॉडल मेकिंग के फ्रेम्स बनाते हैं, इसलिए उनको किया गया। तो डेफिनेटली they were looking for the expertise। so many things are there। I am having very less time। let us discuss one more important aspect now। एक आपको रीजन मैंने बताया कि लोगों को, यूथ को उसके काबिल बनाना, यूथ को एजुकेशन के साथ जोड़ना और एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी को बढ़ाना। तो उसके लिए क्या है कि स्किल बेस्ड एजुकेशन को इंट्रोड्यूस कर दिया गया, राइट। एक और रीजन है कि एक और अप्रोच है जिसके थ्रू हम ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों को शिक्षा के साथ जोड़ सकते हैं। तो वो है कंसेप्ट ऑफ 3 लैंग्वेज फार्मूला। यू नो व्हाट इज द कंसेप्ट ऑफ 3 लैंग्वेज फार्मूला? फर्स्ट लैंग्वेज हिंदी, सेकंड लैंग्वेज इंग्लिश, थर्ड लैंग्वेज लोकल और रीजनल लैंग्वेज।
Yeah.
You know or not? Yes। So the NEP 2020 committee also recommends strongly the implementation of this 3 लैंग्वेज फार्मूला। अब 3 लैंग्वेज फार्मूला की के पीछे रीजन क्या है? रीजन ये है, do you think language is also one of the reasons why people do not join the process of learning, especially in rural areas or far-flung areas of the country? Cities, towns और big cities और metros को छोड़ दीजिए, ये बड़े बड़े शहरों को छोड़ दीजिए जहाँ माता पिता पढ़े लिखे हैं, बट गाँव में, दूर दराज के इलाकों में, सीमावर्ती इलाकों में, कोस्टल एरियाज में या पहाड़ी क्षेत्रों में, आपको लगता है लैंग्वेज में भी वन ऑफ द रीजंस व्हाई पीपल डू नॉट सेंड देयर किड्स टू स्कूल्स और कॉलेजेस और यूनिवर्सिटीज? क्योंकि ये भी
रीजनल लैंग्वेज सर बैरियर।
ये भी एकेडमिक लीडरशिप का बहुत बड़ा हिस्सा है कि एकेडमिक लीडर्स को कैसे एक्ट करना है। तो जो 3 लैंग्वेज फार्मूला है, मैं आपको एग्जांपल देता हूँ। आई वेंट टू यूएस, पीपल स्पीक इंग्लिश। आई वेंट टू यूके, पीपल स्पीक इंग्लिश। आई वेंट टू इस्तांबुल, टर्की, पीपल स्पीक टर्किश लैंग्वेज। So in Europe, I could see in Germany it's German, in France it's French, in Norway it is Norwegian, in Finland it is Finnish, in Spain it is Spanish, in Italy it's Italian, and so on, है ना। यानी कि the idea is the dissemination of knowledge is in local or regional language। यही कंसेप्ट एडवोकेट किया है NEP 2020 कमेटी ने, कि क्यों ना इंडिया में भी हम 3 लैंग्वेज फार्मूला का कंसेप्ट को एनकरेज करें, यानी कि फर्स्ट लैंग्वेज हिंदी, सेकंड इंग्लिश और थर्ड लोकल और रीजनल लैंग्वेज। यानी कि so many languages are there, तमिल, तेलुगु, कन्नड़, उड़िया, बांग्ला, मराठी, गुजराती, right?
Yes.
7 northeastern states they have their own, पंजाबी, भोजपुरी, मैथिली, अवधी, मगधी, बहुत सारी है ना, बहुत सारी भाषाएं हैं।
Yes.
कश्मीरी, डोगरी, हरियाणवी, राजस्थानी, right?
Yes.
So do you think that if this barrier is removed, more number of people will join the process of learning? The answer is yes. But the thing is, who will ensure the curriculum or the type of courses and what type of learners you expect to join those courses. It is not only the government, but it is also the academician. इसीलिए academic leadership, इसीलिए governance, इसीलिए management, इसका बहुत बड़ा रोल है. तो यानी कि प्लानिंग फॉर हायर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस, HEIs में प्लानिंग ऐसी करनी है कि किस तरह के बच्चे बच्चियां आएंगे, समाज के कौन से वर्ग के लोग आएंगे, उनको कौन कौन सी भाषा में चाहिए. तो अभी मुझे बताया गया कि जैसे अन्ना यूनिवर्सिटी चेन्नई ने प्रोग्राम स्टार्ट किया बीटेक मैकेनिकल एंड बीटेक सिविल इन तमिल लैंग्वेज, क्योंकि चेन्नई में तमिल चलती है ज्यादा, तमिल लैंग्वेज, एंड पीपल जॉइन दैट प्रोग्राम. इसी तरीके से मुझे बताया गया कि इग्नो है, बिकॉज इंदिरा गांधी नेशनल ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी है, उनके तो बहुत सारे सेंटर्स है पूरे भारत में. So they have given this flexibility in Odisha that the candidates can write in Odia language. In Odia language, ये भी बात Odia language में. But now my question is, do we have ample number of teachers available who can teach the courses in local or regional languages? The answer is no. आप मराठी या सब्जेक्ट पढ़ाओगे ठीक है, बट अगर हम बोले पूरा पाठ्यक्रम मराठी में पढ़ाना, तो वो तो चैलेंज है ना, बहुत बड़ा. वो बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है. या पंजाबी में पढ़ाना, या गुजराती में पढ़ाना, या कन्नड़ या तेलुगु या उड़िया या किसी भाषा में भी पढ़ाना, तो वो एक चैलेंज है. तो इसको ओवरकम करने के लिए एकेडमिशियंस को, या इसको टैकल करने के लिए एकेडमिशियन को सोचना कि कौन कौन से कोर्स हम ऑप्ट कर सकते हैं, कौन कौन से प्रोग्राम हम डिजाइन कर सकते हैं इस तरीके से, ताकि हम रीजनल लैंग्वेजेस की तरफ चलें. हालांकि रीजनल लैंग्वेजेस में भी आने के लिए थोड़ा समय लगेगा, बट स्टिल देयर इज अ प्रोविजन. सो वी डोंट हैव एम्पल नंबर ऑफ टीचर्स अवेलेबल. तो इसका वे आउट क्या है? इसका वे आउट ये है कि भारत सरकार ने एक प्रोजेक्ट चलाया है जिसके अंदर कॉलेज और यूनिवर्सिटी टीचर्स को बोला गया है कि हिंदी और इंग्लिश के द्वारा लोकल या रीजनल लैंग्वेज में कंटेंट को ट्रांसलेट किया जाए. हैव यू हर्ड अबाउट दिस प्रोजेक्ट और नॉट? और एक टूल है जिसको हम बोलते हैं अनुवादिनी. हैव यू हर्ड अबाउट दैट टूल अनुवादिनी? यस और नो? नो. अनुवादिनी इज अ टूल, a digital platform जिसमें which allows the college and the university teachers to translate their content from Hindi and English to local or regional language, ताकि ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोग शिक्षा के साथ जुड़े. क्यों? academicians को, यानी कि academic leaders को, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर्स को, मैनेजर्स को, गवर्नर्स को, कुछ भी बोलिए, उनको ये भी ध्यान रखना है कि जो क्रिएटिविटी है, नोवेल्टी है, जरूरी नहीं है कि वो हिंदी बोलेगा, इंग्लिश बोलेगा तभी आएगी. वो मराठी बोलने से वाले से भी आ सकती है, वो गुजराती बोलने वाले से भी आ सकती है, तमिल, तेलुगु, मलयालम, कन्नड़, उड़िया, बांग्ला, किसी से भी आ सकती है. तो इन सब चीजों की ऊपर फोकस करना, ये सब चीजें एकेडमिशियंस को. उसके बाद रिसर्च सपोर्ट सिस्टम प्रोवाइड करवाना, किसको? स्टूडेंट्स को, फैकल्टी को. एक और स्लाइड है, मैं जस्ट क्विकली शो करूंगा. आई विल नॉट डिस्कस बिकॉज आई हैव लेस टाइम. यस, रिसोर्सेज टू द फैकल्टी को रिसोर्सेज प्रोवाइड करवाना, इंटरनेशनल ट्रैवल ग्रांट, प्रोफेशनल डेवलपमेंट फंड. मुझे लगता है आप सबको मैक्सिमम ये चीजें मालूम होंगी, मैं सिर्फ आपको बता रहा हूँ. आई विल नॉट डिस्कस. ट्रांसडिसिप्लिनरी रिसर्च ग्रांट जो मैंने अभी बोला, जिसमें लैंग्वेज कन्वर्ट करने के लिए भी एक प्रोजेक्ट है, वो भी आप कर सकते हो. यानी कि आप अदर देन योर ओन डोमेन अगर काम करते हो, उसमें अगर रिसर्च करते हो, उसके लिए ग्रांट, उसके लिए स्पेशल प्रोविजन है, इसलिए मैंने उसको हाईलाइट किया दूसरे कलर में. इक्विपमेंट ग्रांट, क्रेडिट रिसर्च फंडिंग एंड ऑल दैट, सीड ग्रांट, ये सब चीजें कॉलेज और यूनिवर्सिटीज को सुनिश्चित करनी है. तो द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया इज पुटिंग अ लॉट ऑफ मनी, लॉट ऑफ फंड्स in these areas. Now before I end, can we have a small practice session before I end? Though I have very limited time left, I maybe 2 or 3 minutes.
Yes.
Can I take a small practice session or should I end? Hello participants, should I take a small practice session or should I end? It seems you are not interested, right? It seems you are not interested. But anyways, if you want, I can have a small practice session because I need more time to discuss. समय मेरे पास थोड़ा कम था. Can we have a small practice session before we end? कर सकते हैं अपन?
Yes, sir.
Just quickly. Yes.
Yes.
So NEP 2020 was launched on 29 July 2020. So under NEP 2020, ABC stands for Academic Bank of Credits. And what percentage of India's total budget is allocated to education sector? It is between 35 to 42. So both are correct. B is also correct. C is also correct. And which are the following reform included in NEP 2020? Equitable and inclusive education, universal use, ensuring universal access, 5+3+3+4. So all the above. So the primary target of the government is to enroll every child to the school by the year 20. क्या answer? 2030. 2030. 2030. And what is the role of academic institution? They shape the intellectual landscape of society. They shape the intellectual landscape of society. Yes. And academic leaders are not accountable to. They are not accountable to political party. And types of cultural diversity, they can lead to inclusive environment, because inclusiveness and diversity are the two features of education. And to have inclusive education, we will have to respect diversity. And which mathematician was a member of NEP 2020 drafting committee? The answer is Professor Manjul Bhargav. Professor Manjul Bhargav. Okay, so with this I stop, because I think time is also not left much. So I have many other things to discuss, but due to paucity of time, I could not do it. Maybe some other time. So I thank you that holistic and multidisciplinary education and holistic and sustainable education is the need of new age learning. So thank you, dear participants, for the patient hearing and some good level of interaction, I would say.
Thank you.
And I believe majority of you are now in a hurry to move to your home, because many of them I can see are already traveling. Many of them are already traveling. See, the purpose of these any questions if you have, please do ask me. Any question if you have, please do ask me. I can spare 5 minutes. I can spare 5 minutes. NEP 2020 also calls for reforms in education. तो academic leadership में reforms हम कैसे ला सकते हैं education में? क्योंकि आप देखिए, to be very practical and very honest, we would say, in most of the institutions, especially of engineering and technology in Maharashtra or Karnataka, I would say, or maybe Andhra also say, क्योंकि मैं खुद महाराष्ट्र में पढ़ा हूँ, नागपुर में, मैंने देखा है the way we are using technology in our colleges. मैं महाराष्ट्र के colleges की बात बताया, I studied in Nagpur University long back, right? So the way they are using, we are already using much advanced systems. We are already using much advanced system. We are already using much transparent systems. We are already, ये जितनी हम ये करते हैं NBA accreditation, NAC and all that, कितने quality parameters पे हम already काम कर रहे होते हैं, बहुत सारे institution. इसीलिए तो देखिए उनकी ranking कैसी है, ranking कैसी है. But हम जब overall बात करते हैं कैसे इसको implement किया जाए, उसके challenges क्या हैं, एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी प्रोस्पेक्ट्स क्या होंगे, तो इन चीजों के ऊपर थोड़ा फोकस करने की, ध्यान करने की थोड़ी और आवश्यकता है. तो इसी दिशा में आगे हमें इंस्टीट्यूशंस को लेकर जाना है. और जैसे मैं बात कर रहा था कि एकेडमिक प्लानिंग फॉर हायर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशन में कि रिफॉर्म्स कैसे लाए जाए इसमें, एग्जामिनेशन एंड इवैल्यूएशन रिफॉर्म्स, कोई बताना चाहेगा कैसे ला सकते हैं? जैसे कोई बोलता है फील्ड बेस्ड स्टडी, प्रोजेक्ट बेस्ड इवैल्यूएशन, इंडस्ट्री बेस्ड इवैल्यूएशन, इंजीनियरिंग टेक्नोलॉजी मैनेजमेंट तो ऑलरेडी सब कुछ ये करते आए हैं, हम पहले भी कर रहे थे. यस और नो? मुझे लगता है हम लोग पहले भी ये सब कुछ कर रहे थे. बट हाँ, बाकी विषय में आर्ट्स, कॉमर्स और मे बी अदर डिसिप्लिन में, उसमें फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी है लाने की. तो इंजीनियरिंग एंड टेक्नोलॉजी में इतनी ज्यादा चेंज नहीं लाए गए हैं, या ज्यादा लाने की जरूरत नहीं है. बट यस, बाकी डोमेन्स में आप चेंज ला सकते हैं, ताकि जो कंसेप्ट ऑफ क्रिएटिविटी, क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग, कम्युनिकेशन, कोलैबोरेशन, जिसको 4C बोलते हैं, उसको. सो एकेडमिक लीडर्स, एकेडमिक फ्रेटर्निटी, टीचिंग फ्रेटर्निटी, जो मेंटरशिप है, हमारा बहुत बड़ा रोल है. सो मेनी थिंग्स आर देयर. Anyways, anyone who want to ask anything before I end? Because the purpose not here is to discuss my own research, because this is an orientation and sensitization program. So I'm not going to discuss own research, but we have to discuss the things from NEP perspective. कि NEP को कैसे लागू करना है, NEP में क्या है, एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग, होलिस्टिक एजुकेशन, मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी एजुकेशन, इन चीजों के ऊपर बात करनी है हमें. Yes, I think my time has ended, and I think probably MMTTC center.
Yes, sir.
They are waiting for the end, me to culminate the session, right?
So
any question if you have, please feel free to ask. We can have 4-5 minutes. Or otherwise, it's fine. Otherwise, it's fine. We can end the session, no issues. Because I do understand many of you are about to leave and may have to travel to your homes, right? So thank you very much, dear participants, for the patient hearing and some good level of interaction. especially our faculty from management, Dr. Bora, and maybe other participants who were active, Dr. Yogendra Yadav ji, and others also, Dr. Manoj, Dr. faculty member from mechanical engineering, I have forgotten the name, maybe Pawan or Parvez, and one madam from computer science. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
so
sir.
much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for
Thank you,
such an interactive session. You have recalled during your session the foundation of this national education policy in a very best manner. And definitely, sir, your input will be valuable for us, and we'll try to inculcate at our institution. And I once again extend my sincere thanks on behalf of all the participants and the both organizers. And with the kind consent of Professor Ankush sir, I would like to declare that this session will be over. Today's session will be over here. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And thank
मैं चाहता हूं कि कुछ ना कुछ थोड़ा पता लगे, नहीं तो ऐसा नहीं हो जाए जैसे वो मराठी में हम बोलते थे पहले कि पेपर कसा गेला, बोलते जैसा आला तैसा गेला, ऐसा ना हो जाए. हैं? तो I want that people should have something before they actually end. But anyways, thank you very much. My best wishes to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you,
so participants, as tomorrow there will be a Sunday, there will be a holiday, there will be a no sessions. Sessions will be resumed from Monday. This is the first thing. And second thing is that as a part of this course assessment, there will be a MCQ assessment that will be, I have already posted the link in our WhatsApp group, and that link will be